Hello and welcome! Welcome back to the W12 Sprint Series, Season 4, week number 10 only, including this one. 3 more weeks to go until we can crown the champion, or the champions. We've got, of course, 2 series going on in the W12. Of the W12 Sprint Series Season 4, we are back together tonight. No more lonely commentating jobs for the two of us, which includes not only me, Kevin, but also my lovely co-host, Dan. Welcome, Dan.
Good evening. Good evening, Kevin. Well, first of all, I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas. And, well, you, of course, could ask that before. I don't know if you have, but also a very happy new year. Of course, the year is now 2023. Nothing has changed, though, in the W12 series. The only thing that has changed is something that has come immediately into play. Because you can see in the background, we're with the Toyota GR86 now.
That's absolutely correct. We've got a new car in the lineup. And let's see how our drivers are doing with this car at the moment, actually. Let's look at the times on the board right now.
It seems like Kevin Niels Langeveld is quick again.
It's
Langeveld. Always in the first server that he seems to have the edge over most of the people. Usually, we of course were used to him being quick in the touring cars. Of course, for the people that don't know, he became the Italian touring car champion in 2022 last racing season, and he's shown that in the touring cars and iRacing as well. In the Toyota at the moment, quickest as well.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. But you gotta say that the gap at the top is very, very tight between the top 3 drivers, I'd say, at the moment. Niels Langeveld, Marius Zug, and Jan-Philipp Springhopp. All of them in the very, very low 41s. But of course, at the moment, Niels Langeveld 1:41.096. The time to beat in this practice session.
Well, Kevin, I don't know if we have championship scorings to go over, if they are up to date.
We do.
But at the moment, we're having a surprise. Mirko Bortolotti, of course, the one who's leading the championship, as far as I know, 2 rounds ago, and is still doing that now quite comfortably, actually. While he's down in 9th at the moment, ahead of Clement Schmidt. But yeah, we're usually used to seeing him a little bit higher up. Of course, still some time to go. 10 minutes left in practice, so still time for him to improve. And for others, of course, as well. But Mirko Bortolotti, the one who's leading the championship at the moment, is down in 9th in this practice session. Jonas Vana, as you can see, is second on 331 points. Quite a considerable margin behind Mirko Bortolotti. Marius Zug in 3rd on 287. So quite spread out for the top 3, though. But Kevin, you can see P4 Benedict hits 1 point behind Marius Zug to also play for there, with still 3 rounds to go, including this one. Hendrik Augustin in 5th on 268 points. In 6th, we find ourselves Martin Stadtmann on 236. Only 9 points ahead of Thomas Piba in 7th on 227. Then behind that, of course, we have the man leading in this first practice session on 211 points. In 8th, it is Niels Langeveld. Benjamin Moser in 9th on 172 points. And then we get on 133, Marco Zaila in 10th. So all looking rather close there at the top 10 here, Kevin. And I think really exciting for the at least 2nd, 3rd, and 4th position going into these last 3 evenings.
Yes, definitely. There is still a lot to fight for. Mirko looks a bit far away at the top, you're right with that, but everything behind that is still very close and very much contested. Let's look at the silver class, which is, I think, a bit tighter, especially also in the fight for the overall championship. With Benjamin Moser sitting at 119 points, Florian Becker not that far behind, not as far at least as we see in the overall standings, 91 points. Julien Rambaud, 90 points, so also he's very close to it. And Patrick Henn as well, 82 points, just a couple of points behind those top 3 drivers. So I think the top 4 still got a reasonable shout at winning that whole thing, that whole silver class.
Yeah, the whole silver class is, well, like you said, rather close. The gap at the top, if my quick maths are correct, is only at 27 points. So not too much at all. But, well, Benjamin Moser, he's been quick this whole season. Florian Becker has at points proven very, very quick, as has Julien Rambo. Of course, 1 point in it between P1, P2 and P3. Yeah, it's looking really exciting. It's not only that, but the fact that everyone behind that is so close as well. If one silver driver has a great evening here in the W12 series, or he should win overall in a feature race, he's gonna gain a lot of points compared to his competitors, and that means that it's, well, I think up until P12 or P13 for Tom Lightgib, still all to play for here for the win, and that's just a testament to how close it is here in the W12 series with 3 rounds to go.
It is very, very close indeed. Let's look again at the times. Not much has changed with the top times at the moment, but the times are getting closer. Before, Böckmann had quite a gap, or Springer was in third and had quite a gap to fourth, but now Marek Böckmann has taken third place, and now look at those times up until P7. We are only in a range of 0.4 of a second. So it's getting very, very close at the top, and we still got 6.5 minutes in this practice session left, so still some time for improvement for our drivers.
Well, the number 100, we've pointed on it a couple of times now, but Niels Langeveld leading this practice session. Of course, Kevin, nothing to say here still in this practice session, as we both know. This is still practice, and as we both know, with the one-shot qualifying here, in the first server, usually the grid is quite shook up with the way the one-shot qualifying goes. Some people, well, they say, I'm going to take all the risk I can, because if I'm going to start from P6 or P30, for me it doesn't matter. I have to come through the field in the heat race anyways, so I might as well just give it a good shot, and they just go for it all the way. Or you have people that say, well, I might take it easy this time round, and, well, they lose 2 to 3, maybe 0.4 on their lap, and that is going to put them back with how competitive this field is. Usually 5, 6, maybe 7 positions. And
there we have a new fastest lap, and it is the man in the lead of the championship, Mirko Bortolotti, 1:48. So again, almost taking 0.2 away from Marek Böckmann in second. 0.19 seconds at the moment, so not quite 0.2, but still quite a sizable gap if we're looking at how close the field is at the moment. 5 minutes left in this practice session. Let's see if anybody else can drop down into the 40s. Mirko is of course at the moment the only man to do so right now.
Well, Kevin, he's proven quick time and time again, and wouldn't you say that it sometimes starts to get a bit boring? We've now had 3 seasons, and 3 times this man has not won it comfortably every time, but he's been there from round 1 to the last round, and shouldn't there be an extra penalty away for if you win the championship 4 times to make it exciting for the 5th?
Yeah, maybe. We'll put that in the pile of possible ideas for next season, I think. Maybe look at the silver class leader at the moment, Benjamin Moser, turning
Duncan doing donuts.
Duncan doing donuts, perfect thing here. We've also got a very nice interior camera, the standard one from iRacing. They've done a good job. It gets very close there. Benjamin, nobody is quite sure where to go at the moment, but now they're hitting the right pedal and pulling away again. Yeah, where were we? Mirko's extra penalty weight. He's just very consistent.
Yeah,
and that of course helps in the long run in those championships. We've talked about it time and time again, how he always manages to escape the big crashes in the reverse grid races and stuff when he starts from the back. And that, of course, that just adds up. Even if he doesn't win every race, which he really hasn't done this season round. We've talked about a lot of other winners. We've had Hendrik Augustin and Jonas Wanner winning whole evenings, but still Mirko is the one at the top of the leaderboard. So that just shows how much consistency might not win you races, but it wins you the championship in the end.
Well, and it's all going back to what you just said. Of course, his teammates Florian Becker, usually when they're in the same category, you just see that he's just a class above some other people, and it's a testament to just how good he is. And it's not only, don't get me wrong, it's not only here in the sim, it's in real life as well. We all know that Mirko won the 24 hours of Daytona, of course, and he's consistent, he's quick, of course. This year in the DTM was in the championship right until the end, right until the last weekend, and he's quick in everything he just drives, and he just seems to get in and just be quick, and that's something that not a lot of people have, Kevin, and that's something very special that I think Mirko does have. But not to take anything away from everyone else, of course, all people challenging him, all people brave enough to challenge him in this championship. Well, I could tell you I would be nowhere near their pace. So I would be somewhere around the bottom of the overall class and maybe in the middle of the silver. But, well, everyone, even the silvers here, can win races. And that's just, it tells you how competitive and how quick these drivers are. I personally think we can't forget that.
No, definitely not. You've made a great point there. We have seen it. I remember we were very excited when who was it? When a silver driver won the reverse grid race, for instance.
Oh yeah. I don't know who it is anymore, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
I think it was at Virginia, wasn't it?
Yeah. But we have seen those moments where the silver drivers really fight with the overall guys, and it just shows it's maybe called silver, but they're all still very good drivers and can challenge everybody in this field at some times. Ooh, keeps it not
easy to do there.
Yeah, very high curbs. So
I don't know with qualifying, Kev, if we can go on board with someone who is going, well, let me quickly check what kind of corner it is. But through the double right-hander, I think it's turn 5 or 6, if I quickly take a look at the track map. It is turn, well, funny enough, I don't get any turn numbers. But I think, if I quickly count, it's turn 5 or 6. The inside tire of this Toyota actually gets lifted off the ground. I don't know if there's a bump there, but we can show it here in this qualifying session. Of course, the one-shot qualifying, the lone qualifying. But yeah, that's something that the drivers have to keep in mind as well. Mirko Bortolet, of course, the one we are watching, the man who was quickest in the practice session. Is he going to prove again the quickest here in qualifying? We know out of just pure experience that usually is not the case here in this one-shot qualifying, because if you're quickest in practice, would you not say, Kevin, that you don't need to take the risk to push this car and you can step a little off the gas, just go 99% instead of the full 100? Of course, we know that in a proper racer's DNA, 99% is not there really. It's always 100%, but just to dial it back just that little bit.
I think with our top drivers, which Mirko of course is,
this is the corner I meant, by the way.
Yeah, let's look maybe how he takes it. It's of course the warm-up laps, so he's probably not gonna take it full send at the moment. But I think that's what separates the good drivers from the really great drivers, is that they have this ability to go 100% and be sure that they won't make any mistakes. They just have the self-confidence and of course the skill that they know that they can do it. And I think Mirko is of course one of them. We've got a couple of drivers like that, so I think he will push 100%, because I think knowing Mirko, anything else but first place is not an option for him.
No, and I think we've seen that now time after time again. Well, let's see what he's going to do. He's going to line it up properly here. We're going to now go into turn 1. A long run up to turn 1 here at the Grand Prix Strecke, of course. The Kurzanbindung, if I'm correct in German it is.
Very good, very good.
So, yeah, well, a difficult track. I have seen a couple of drivers go left after turn 1, and they take the route you take. Normally, if we are in the Nordschleife as well, here we go, right-hander, sharp right-hander. You have to wait such a long time before you can get on the loud pedal again. And now through this long left-hander of turn 2 or 3 it actually is. I don't know if they count the little kink on the straight. We'll call it turn 3. Of course, this corner have to wait long because you can understeer on exit. Then through turn 4 and into turn 5. This is a corner where you can get an off-track easily here on exit. Mirko not going anywhere near that off-track. I don't know if we can go off-board now to see if the inside tire lifts up. Here we go. Here we can see it clearly. There we go. The inside tire lifts up on this Toyota. And that's because there's a little bit of a bump there on the apex of the corner through turn 6. And through turn 7, we go the left-hander, tricky one. Also very easy to pick up the off-track on the exit of the corner. Turn 8 then. I don't know what this corner is called. This corner has a name, if I'm correct. But I forgot what name it has, of course. A lot of names here on this track. Through turn 8 and then through the, well, not so difficult turn 9. Flat out here for Mirko Bortotti into the chicane. Of course, the tighter chicane this time round. Sorry, Kev, to cut you off.
No, I'm sorry. My mistake.
Well, the tighter chicane this is of the two, of course, you can see here where the cones are. That's the more flowing chicane that they can take through turn 10 and 11. Through turn 12, though, the last corner on the track, Mirko staying nice and tight through that corner, not going anywhere near the off-track. And that is a lap around the Kurzanbindung of the Nürburgring Grand Prix Strecke. And that is, at the moment also, Kevin, the fastest lap we see at the moment. But as you can see, 3 tenths, about 3.5 tenths off of what he did in practice.
Yeah, still a bit behind. You're correct there, but we saw at the moment, we were watching the current pole position lap. Let's see if anybody can do something about it. I see a purple sector here with Robert. Maybe that looks like it could be a great time. We'll see once he crosses the line. It is a very good time. It's P4 in the standings. It's a bit far behind Mirko at the moment, but I mean, it still makes for a great position, a great starting position for Robert there in the heat races. Niels also coming across the line only in 12th position, so not a time he will be very happy about. I still see a couple of drivers that haven't even started, I think, because they're not in pit lane or anything. I see a couple of, or I think...
Is there maybe a qualifying ban? Not that I know of. I haven't heard anyone get a qualifying ban.
No,
they have been out on track, though. It might just be the case that they got an off track and just put it on the side of the road and just couldn't bother to continue. But we've come to the end of qualifying, Kev, so I think this is where we're going to start.
Yes, that's exactly right. We'll just quickly have a look at the grid for this first race. It is, of course, Mirko Bortolotti starting from P1, ahead of Daniel Sommer, Marius Zug in P3, Patrick Henn in P4, Pascal Haas P5, Benjamin Moser P6, Florian Stadtmann ahead of Martin Stadtmann P7, P8, the Stadtmann row, Thomas Pieper in P9, Christian Meyer P10, Stefano Pellegrino P11, Chanter P12, and we do have, if it skips over, there it is, Hugo Sasse and Matthias Lebelt in P13 and P14.
Well then, it's about time to start this race. Kevin, a minute we're now gridding on. We're almost ready to go lights out. And I think everyone has joined the grid now.
Not yet.
I can't see anymore.
No, Mirko is not on the grid yet.
Okay.
Because that's why the cameras are switching up. Let's change to Daniel, then we can see all of the drivers. Now Mirko is here. Now we'll jump over to him. which is a good camera for this one. Let's see, maybe this one. Not too familiar with the Nürburgring cameras, but there we are. Green, green, green. And the first race is away. Very slow, of course, those Toyota GR86s. But everybody has had a good start, and they are off into turn 1.
Into turn 1. Everything seems clean at the moment. The number 95 of, I think that is Sommer. Zug also going around the outside, maybe Sommer. I don't think that's exactly what he wanted. But Marius Zug and Mirko Bortolotti fighting it out there at the front of the field. 1 position gained already for Marius Zug. Daniel Sommer lost that 1 position too. Marius, the biggest loser at the moment, Patrick Henn. He did not get away well from his starting position.
And I think he was the one that turned around there in turn 1. We saw it very quickly there. Everybody going here through the hairpin. Very nice, very lined up. Everybody just slotting into position. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars, I think. Let's see, Thomas Pieber. Yeah, the final car in this first in this first train that is following Mirko right now. And now he's going for the overtake through the kink. Thomas Pieber gaining a position there.
Well, Kevin, of course, these Toyotas heavily depending on that slipstream. So as long as Marius Zug can keep in the slipstream of Mirko Bortolotti, I don't think Daniel Sommer, if he does not have the advantage in terms of raw pace over Marius Zug, I don't think that he's then going to be able to overtake him, of course, down this straight. This is where Zug is going to be gaining on Mirko Bortolotti. Of course, every little bit of straight line speed that these Toyotas can gain is just a K extra in terms of where they are on straight line speed. Marius Zug now 3.5 tenths is the gap to Mirko Bortolotti. The first lap is done, and it seems like we've all got through cleanly, except Patrick Henn. He's dropped down 7 positions, and Florian Stadtmann, who's also dropped down 7 positions from their starting position.
We'll see. Very close fighting at the back. Patrick Henn, Sean and Christian Meyer. I think Patrick Henn just overtaken Christian Meyer there. Not, I think those slower cars like the GR86, they always make for some very, very good racing. We've got also a very tight fight here for position 2 between Marius Zug and Daniel Sommer right now. One of the closer fights on track. We can also see Hugo Sasse back there. Let's see how those guys are doing. Also very close fighting between Sasse and Stadtmann. But of course, at the front is where a couple of cars are very close to each other. Of course, you can see the colors in the timing tower. They can show you where the cars are closest to each other, and Marius Zug there hits the curb a bit too hard and loses 2 positions as the result of it.
Well, it's not only that. This has now given Mirko Bortolotti that 1.3, 1.4 second lead that he wanted. Now we can start to build to Daniel Sommer. Pascal Haas, of course, has now also gained that position over Marius Zug. Has only lost 1 position in terms of his starting position, so still won't be too bad. But that is not 1 position lost on the starting grid. That's 2 positions lost in terms of starting position.
Yeah, he won't be happy about a really, let's say, unnecessary mistake like that. I mean, it's an easy one to make, as we saw in practice as well. Those curbs, they are very, very high in this chicane. And you want to take it as quickly as possible. But that, of course, means more room for error. And when the field is as close as it is right now here at the top, as we can see, the tiniest of mistakes can cost you quite a lot of positions.
Well, that was a mistake, of course, into the chicane. The Viro chicane, of course, that chicane is called. And, well, difficult chicane. The curb on the inside and the inside on the exit, very high. If you touch it, I thought with these Toyotas you would be fine, but clearly not. Of course, that Toyota didn't take the curb in the right way, and that has given Mirko Bortolotti the lead. But Daniel Sommer has taken a 10th out of that lead already on Mirko Bortolotti. If he wants to have a chance to try and overtake Mirko maybe on this straight next time round, he will have to be very, very quick. because Mikko Bortolotti is going to enter the last lap of this race next time round. Somehow under attack. No, this is Haas under attack from Marius Zug. Marius Zug trying to make up those positions again. Not quite successful in that this time around. And through the Coca-Cola curve and back onto the start-finish straight. And, well, that's another lap completed. 3 laps completed now by the competitors. To the outside, though, looks Thomas Pieper. Marius Zug under attack now. Can he turn defense into attack on Pascal Haas? Not quite. Thomas Pieper with the cutback, though, on number 66 from Marius Zug. And he does not get it this time round. There is an opportunity for the inside. Doesn't quite go for it. Decides to hang back and, well, maybe try it the next time round. He doesn't have too much time anymore, Kev. He's going to have to try it somewhere this lap because we are on the white flag lap.
We are on the white flag lap, but it is so close. And I don't know if you really got another good chance at an overtake. The chicane is a very, very difficult one to really get an overtake in. Maybe, if anything, the last corner. But we'll see. Maybe Thomas has something up his sleeve where he can try and get the pass there. Or maybe even Marius Zug and Pascal ahead of him. Those 3, they are still very close. And everybody could overtake everybody in this fight at the moment.
Marius Zug is not going to go for it. Going to be vulnerable to Thomas Pieper. Thomas Pieper breaks late. The latest of the 3. Gains a lot on entry. But on exit, it is Pascal. Marius Zug gains a lot to the inside. He goes. That inside is blocked by Pascal Haas. He's going to have to go around the outside. I don't think he's going to get it. He's going to have to get it on the cutback. Mikko Bortolotti, meanwhile, crosses the line first. He has a good run. It's going to be a run to the line.
Not quite
enough. He gets it. Marius Zug gets it. Pascal Haas, though, finishes P3 on the podium. Marius Zug gets it over Thomas Pieper. That was rather close there on the run down to the line. Christian Maya in the fight with Sean Ter and Hugo Zasse as well. P8, 9, and 10 respectively. Of course, Stadtmann coming through in 11th. And this is the battle for, of course, the last place. Stadtmann came through in 13th. Lebelt, the only one driving now, in 14th.
There was some good fighting in those Toyotas, you gotta really say. Was good fun to watch. And let's hope it stays like that for the rest of the first server. Because we've had some very, very close and good fighting, I feel like. But now we jump over to the second round, the second heat, I'd better say. As we've got, of course, as usual, finishers 2, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. You can see them on the screen right now. We're only 1 driver away from starting the race, which is now. So let's jump over to the race screen, and
here we go. The lights are gonna come on. 3, 4, 5. We're green. Mark Beckman starts us from pole position. A really slow start in these Toyotas. A quick start for Henrik Augustin. He can immediately attack. I think Hega into turn 1. Not quite able to get alongside though. There he is in the middle. It is, I think, Josh Files who can try and overtake Robert Hega and Florian Becker. Doesn't quite manage to do so on the outside in the Falcon livery. It is now the inside into turn 2. But I don't think that Henrik Augustin is going to get it. He's going to be passed around the outside by Henrik Augustin.
It's very close. It's too close. That was the contact there. Too many cars in too little of a space. And that was pretty much bound to happen.
I have to apologize though, Kevin. That was not Niels Langeveld who'd gone around. It is Clement Schmidt, I think, who's now dropped down to P13, who has been spun round. Of course, we know Clement also from real life racing in the Lamborghinis and the DTM. But yeah, also a really quick driver. And he's down the order now in P13. Of course, looking to still make up positions, but he has a massive setback now. Yeah, but the group is still very close to each other, and Julian stops his car. Let's go back to the action.
What happened to him?
He just stopped. I didn't see anything. But there's too much going on.
Or something?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
The one
not.
thing that I do know, Kevin, is that my Buckman at the front of the field has a 2.1 second lead over Hendrik Augustin and Robert Hega. Robert Hega under attack from Hendrik Augustin. Down the inside goes the number 33 of Robert Hega. He has to watch out. Behind him, of course, Josh Fowles on the left-hand side of the screen now. On the 2x2 bank on the left-hand side. He could try and attack, of course. Robert Hega as well. Hendrik Augustin has the edge into turn 1, but has the outside as well. Robert Hega breaks latest of the two. Hendrik Augustin can't quite come back. And is pushed, of course, down to the outside. A very slow turn 1, though.
But he's going back up the inside. Augustin maybe tries the attack now. No, not quite fast enough. And now he's getting attacked by Niels Langeveld, who just pushes up the inside there and goes past Hendrik Augustin.
Well, amazing move there from, of course, Niels Langeveld, the number 100 we're looking at the moment. Around the outside, though, goes Hendrik Augustin, tries it again. This corner, though, very much favors the inside. Niels Langeveld, a big snap for him. Does manage to continue, only loses one position to Hendrik Augustin. There wasn't a touch involved, I think, in the initial snap of oversteer for Niels Langeveld. But after that, of course, helped a little bit by Hendrik Augustin. Of course, managed to keep it. Very well done by Niels Langeveld to keep that car going in a straight line. Is now pressured, though, by Josh Fowles. Niels Langeveld has had an up-and-down race here. Off the podium once again now. Hendrik Augustin, the man ahead of him, is now going to defend into the Vidal Chicane. Manages to do so. Niels Langeveld, can he get up into the podium again? Of course, the Dutchman, he was there just a couple of corners ago, of course, but had a big snap, and Hendrik Augustin managed to pass him there.
Those cameras at the Nürburgring are very far away, some of them. Especially TV3, just gotta look out for that. Got a little bit of a fight here just behind the two drivers we're watching right now. As Jan-Philipp Springop and Hugo Ekersen, I think, are fighting for position right now. Hugo Ekersen on the inside, but doesn't quite manage to outbrake Jan-Philipp Springop, but maybe makes up for it on the exit. Around the outside, not really a position where you can overtake, but now he goes for the inside maybe for the next time. Next corner. Oh, it's very close. Those cars are unbelievable for racing. I don't think we've seen so much close and hard fighting for a long time now, Dan, I think.
Well, Hugo Ekersen, if I'm correct here, Kevin, at the moment is our leader of the AM class. Because I don't think Jan-Philipp Springop is, or in the AM, in the silver class. Because I don't think Jan-Philipp Springop is in the silver class, is he?
No, not from how how everything is set up in here. So I don't think so. He should be overall. Just an overall driver, not a silver class driver as well.
Well, Niels Langeveld once again under attack by Josh Fowles. He's up into the podium once again now. Robert Hega, the gap to him is 3.2 seconds, so I don't think that he's going to get there. Niels Langeveld has to defend, though, into the Coca-Cola curve. Takes the inside. Josh Fowles is going to have to hang it around the outside. Can he make it stick? At the moment, he can't. Gets pushed out wide by, of course, Niels Langeveld. Niels Langeveld now is the inside for turn 1 as well. What we do know about turn 1 is that it's a tricky left-hander after that. So maybe if Josh Fowles can keep his car where he has it now, he has the inside, of course, for turn 2. There we go. Niels Langeveld breaks late. And Josh Fowles can't quite take it. Can he get back on throttle earlier than Niels Langeveld can? No, he cannot. And that is position covered for Niels Langeveld. Last lap of the race now. White flag lap. And it's still very close for positions 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Unbelievable how many cars are actually that close at the moment. We got Hugo Ekersen, Jens Fiedler now fighting very closely. And it's just, you can't separate those guys at the moment. Don't even know where to look because everything is just so hotly contested at the moment.
Well, different to, of course, race 1. The lead is 2.9 seconds, so not so hotly contested, of course, at the front. But that doesn't take anything away from these drivers. Josh Fowles, the last chance he's going to get now down the run. Of course, through the Atzenbach curve. we go one last time here. Mike Beckman has led this race from start to finish.
Spring Up is maybe going for the
Spring Up.
inside. No, he backs out of it. It's very close. But I think that's
probably
that
gonna
one
cost
done.
Spring Up. That's probably going to cost Spring Up. Akerson will now attack Spring Up. We can't look at that though because Mark Beckman is the one who comes across the line. Here we have it. Unfinished Spring Up under attack from Akerson. Didn't get the best run through the chicane. And this time round, he does take him. It's a run down to the line though. And
wow.
the gap in the end between those two, half a tenth of a second, 400ths of a second between those two. Well, Kevin, how close do you want it?
You can't get much closer than that. Half a tenth at the line. I think that's what we dream of when we want to watch some racing. That close of a fight all race long, are just unbelievable.
Yeah, well, we've seen it now again, and it's... How many times do we have to be reminded, Kevin, that, well, in the heat races, feature races, it's always amazing racing between the drivers, always very close, hotly contested for every position. They do not want to give a position up, of course, because it will mean that their starting position for the race is compromised. But yeah, well, Maximilian Paul coming across the line now, 48 seconds behind Deutsch, and that is going to settle this race. And Kevin, we have our grid for the feature race.
Yes, we still have, I think, the warm-up session in between, so I'm not sure if we can look at the grid right now for the race, but we can look at the results for the heats. If they are, yes, there they are. No, they're not.
Well, there we go. That's heat one result. We can still take a look at that though, Kevin. That's good.
Yeah, we haven't seen that yet, so...
Mika Bortolotti, of course, took the win there. 1 second over Daniel Sommer. Daniel Sommer, to be honest, here, Kevin, looked quicker in terms of raw pace than Mika Bortolotti. I don't know if Mika Bortolotti was fuel saving, trying to, well, get a bit used to the fuel saving strategy for in the real race, in the feature race, of course, where it all has to work out with pit stops and everything. Daniel Sommer in P2, of course, he's the one who looked quicker in that race in terms of raw pace. And of course, this will change towards the feature race. I suspect Mika Bortolotti will take the advantage there. For Heat 2, of course, the heat we've just seen, Mike Beckman, of course, won that one convincingly, 3.2 seconds over Robert Hega. Niels Langeveld, the Dutchman, in the P3, 6.8 seconds behind that. And that were all the top threes for you. Here we have the starting grid, Kevin, for the feature race. Mika Bortolotti, of course, we know, starts from pole position ahead of Mike Beckman. Daniel Sommer in P3. Robert Hega, P4. Pascal Haas, P5. P5. Niels Langeveld in P6. Marius Soek, P7. Josh Vaals, P8. Thomas Piwa, P9. Jan Philip Springop in P10. Benjamin Moser in P11. Hugo Akerson, P12, of course, second in the silver class. Sean Ter, P15. Patrick Hen, that's where we left off in P13. Jens Fiedler, P14. Björn Ritter, P16. Christian Meyer, P17. Clement Schmidt in P18. Hugo Zasse, P19. Marcus Deutsch in P20. Martin Stadtmann in P21. Maximilian Paul in P22. Stefano Pellegrino in P23. And rounding off the grid is Hendrik Augustin in P24.
Yes, there we have it.
It's almost time for us to go to the start of the feature race. We've had some amazing heat races before it to warm us up, I think, Kevin. There we go. There are the lights. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're green for the feature race in the W12 Sprint Series. Round 10. Mika Bortolotti, of course, leads us away at a Mark Bokma. And it is Daniel Sommer leading us away in third, of course, into turn 1. It looks like Kevin Mika Bortolotti has a good start. Down the inside, though, because Mark Beckman isn't quite comfortable enough to make that move. And that has allowed Mika Bortolotti to get a little bit of a gap now. Half a second is the gap. But a little bit further back. It is Niels Langeveld. Pascal has a crash for Marcus Deutsch, I think, if I'm correct.
No, Deutsch is still driving. It's somebody further down the field. Björn Ritter, it says in the SDK, has crashed. So it's Björn Ritter who has spun around there. And the time's still very close here at the top. But everybody else seems to have gone on quite well. Let's look at the last driver. Yeah, still, Matthias Lebelt still very close to the pack. And even Björn Ritter is not that far behind after his spin in the first lap. So the fight is very much still on.
Well, what a start for Mikko Bortolotti. Like I said, it is Mike Buckman who looks really, really quick here. Of course, had a really good start. So did Daniel Sommer. Under attack now, Mikko Bortolotti from Mike Buckman. Of course, at pole position, at the win in the heat race. Can he take the win in the feature race as well? Didn't take the curb like he would have wanted to there, Mikko Bortolotti, but of course salvages that the best he can. Uses all the track here. Mike Buckman's still very close to the back of that Toyota for Mikko Bortolotti. Now he's in the slipstream. 2.5 tenths is the gap coming onto the start-finish straight. That should be enough to pull to the inside for Mike Buckman. Catch that slipstream. There he is, gaining and gaining. Down the inside, Mike Buckman makes that move, but isn't quite comfortable enough, like in turn 1 in lap 1, to make that move down the inside. Maybe Mikko Bortolotti breaking a little bit later than Mike Buckman expected there. And because of that, couldn't quite go for that move.
But the man behind him did. Robert Hager overtook Daniel Sommer. You saw it in the background there as we were watching Bortolotti and Buckman. Robert Hager went up the inside of Sommer and took 3rd place from him. So very good move there by Robert Hager. And the field is starting to spread out a bit. Trying to find some of the closer fights. I think here we've got one Hugo Sasse and Max Deutsch. Sasse on the inside, breaks a bit later and goes past Max Deutsch there. Look at how much those cars are jumping. Oh, and that is Sommer. That was Sommer off the track there. There he is, P16, he's dropping down. So he went off track there. Daniel Sommer crashed. I think we've got the replay there. Not a great camera. Let's see what happened. He was of course, one of the front runners.
I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at how
oh,
much the car
bad.
took off. Look at how much the car took off there. So
Can we
we
get another
talked about
replay of
it.
that maybe, Kevin?
Maybe
Because
because
that's...
we've
Go
got a fight for the lead right now. Mikko Bortolotti has lost it to Robert Hager. Not even to Jan-Philipp Springop. Just wanted to quickly show that. We can look at the crash right now in a second. Don't think Mikko Bortolotti will have a chance at attack back. But the gap has opened up quite a bit between those two and the rest of the field.
A few people already have made their pit stop. Of course, the most considerable of the bunch is, of course, the man in 23rd, Thomas P. But we know he was quite far up the grid. Of course, more people making their pit stop. Christian Meyer, Matthias Lebelt, Maximilian Paul, Niels Langeveld, all making their pit stop now. Very early on in this race. I don't know where they... well, I don't know where they're gonna come out in the end. But it seems like they've made their pit stop gamble very early on here in this race.
They've made it very, very early. But of course, we've got those... They can fill up all the way to the end of the race. So it's a very interesting strategy going that early. But we have seen it work in the past. With some of the drivers, I always think of Jonas Wanner when I think of the early pit stops. So let's see how it works out for them. Let's keep an eye out for the drivers who went in 4 minutes into the race.
Yeah, well, Kevin Chanter, what a drive from him. P3 at the moment in the silver class. He's watching on an attack from Moser on Beckman, I think. And can he make it stick? No, he can't. Now he
And
does
now
overtake
Sean.
Beckman down the inside. That's a beautiful move, and that's beautifully calculated there by Chanter. That's going to give him 2nd position in the silver class, of course, because I think Moser has pitted. There we go, into the pits goes Moser. No, there we go, he goes back past. Excuse me, Moser, of course, back past. Chanter now. That's a mistake on my side, but Moser didn't quite take the chicane as he would have wanted, and because of that was under attack.
Yeah, but managed to recover there. I also thought that Sean would have had him there. But Benjamin Moser with a good exit on the start-finish straight and managed to get that position back. And now Sean is even dropping back behind Hugo Sasse at the moment. So it looked very good for him, but it unraveled pretty quickly there. Let's see if he can recover from that. Still probably the closest fights we've got on track right now. Apart from maybe the one at the top as well, which is always good. Mirko Bortolotti just 3/10 behind Robert Hager. Interesting to know if he's just fuel saving right now behind the other car. Maybe let's go on board and see if he clutches in front of the chicane or something. No, doesn't seem like it. So probably maybe Robert is just really having a good pace right now, and just managing to stay ahead of Mirko on pure pace. We'll see how that one unfolds at the end of the race. We still, of course, got around 11 minutes now until the end of this first server feature race.
Well, 11 minutes to go here in this feature race. There we go, Mirko Bortolotti to the inside of Robert Hager. And it's a beautiful pass by Mirko Bortolotti. Did it at a point where I think Robert Hager didn't quite expect him, because he thought he was too far back, but Mirko Bortolotti launching it up the inside and position done.
Yeah, that was a good clean move there. Just took the inside, brake later, got past. Not much you can say about that one. Maybe a second time round we see this maneuver might be right here. No, it's not. Nils Langeveld thinks better of it. Stays behind Maximilian Paul for the moment. But it's still very close between those two guys. Not to be confused, maybe for you, Marius Zug, he has a pit stop or a pit lane. But I don't know if, because he had a pit lane start because of a penalty. I don't know if it counts that or if he has been to pit lane as well, like proper. I think it shows the times there, so he might have been in pit lane already.
Well,
maybe you know that.
Well, his pit time at the moment seems to be 14 seconds compared to the others of 5 seconds, but his time in pit lane is 21 seconds. So I have a feeling, or I have a sneaky suspicion, that is the time he spent in the pit lane before they could start.
Yeah, so he probably hasn't had. So
Oh,
that's a big one.
That's a big one. He manages to keep it out of any walls. That is, well, I don't know what to say there. Thomas Piba, well, kept it out of the fence, but that was a big snap. Did not expect, I think, the car ahead of him to move over to the left. Of course, he wanted to attack, but the car ahead of him wanted to attack as well, the car ahead of him. And then, because of that, here we can see it. There we go. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. Just under braking. The car just snaps just underneath of him. And no way of catching that for him. And he did well to keep that out of the left-hand side wall. And wow, did well to avoid anyone there.
Yeah, that was very, very close. He did as well. He did very well not to hit the walls there. But he was at the top of the guys that pitted already. So he had a good chance there, but now he's dropped quite a couple positions down. So yeah, he might be happy that he didn't hit the wall, but he won't be happy about the positions that he lost there. But he still got 8 minutes. Maybe a couple of positions are still in store for him. We'll see how his race unfolds there. Let's jump over to Hendrik Augustin, who is just behind Maximilian Paul. Nils Langeveld we see there ahead of those two guys. Those are the top 3 of the drivers that have pitted already. So they are still probably in a good position for a good finishing position, as some other drivers are starting to join in pit lane. Hendrik Augustin now has got the run up on Maximilian Paul on the inside. Can he make it stick? Going around the final corner on the start-finish straight. Who's got the better exit? It looks like Paul at the moment. drivers can't really seem to make those final corner overtakes stick, it seems like. Don't you think, Dan?
No, not quite. Henrik Augustin. Out of the pit lane, though, comes Hugo Zassa, I think this is.
Yes.
In the Kazakhs, number 8. No, they can't quite make that move stick as comfortably as they did maybe in the heat race. And that's maybe also due to the fact that you get way more points in this race and they don't want to risk it as much. But Henrik Augustin and Maximilian Paul, of course, both pitted. They're the first 3 of who has pitted. Niels Langeveld, of course, the first drivers of who has pitted. Robert Hager can't quite make the move for Mikko Bolzotti. Interesting to see which one of those two goes to the pit lane first. And it seems like both of them are not going to do so this time round. So both of them still have to make their pit stop. Robert Hager going to wait a little bit longer. Mikko Bolzotti doing exactly the same.
Yeah, both staying out. Still got maybe 1 lap, maybe more laps in their tanks. We'll see. Tanks in their fuel tanks. Let's see how this one, how much longer they can drive with their cars. Still back with Henrik Augustin and Maximilian Paul still fighting, and there is a car. Stefano Pellegrino going very slowly there. Let's see if I can find something that happened there. Oh, I see a crash there, so maybe let's look at what happened to Stefano Pellegrino.
I bet you it's the curb on the inside.
We'll see. It looks like it's a chicane problem. Brakes there. Oh yeah, takes the inside curb there and turns his car around and drops down a couple of positions. I see a very close fight right behind those guys. Marius Zug and Clemens Schmidt up into turn 1. Zug now on the inside for the next corner, and that is the position I think you want to be in. And it looks like Marius Zug has gone past Clemens Schmidt there up into P16 after his pit lane start. So he's made some good progress there as well. Robert Hager once again very close, and we've seen that one before. But Hager manages to not spin the car around. Wow, that was very close. But now he's going into pit lane. That was very close,
and contact between the two. Robert Hager slowed his car on the apex. Of course, Mikko Bolzotti tried to take a more flowing line through the corner. Because of that, Robert Hager could brake later, and with that complete the move. But on the apex of the corner, or basically in the middle of the chicane, there was contact between the two because the speeds were so much different at that point in time. Because Robert Hager was still braking, or just was releasing his brake, and Mikko Bolzotti was already starting to accelerate again.
Yeah, I just saw the snap just when they started braking and got reminded of what happened to Thomas Pieber. And Mikko Bolzotti with the way faster pit stop there and just goes past Robert Hager in the pit lane once again. So he's back up into, I'd say, the provisional lead. They're of course not leading at the moment because Springer, Haas, Böckmann and Moser have not pitted yet. They are still having to pit. So at the moment you could say that Mikko Bolzotti is back in the lead. Unless one of those guys in the top 4 manages to go without pitting, but that should be pretty much impossible.
Well, it should be, in terms of how the setup is made. Marius Zug, though, a 140.9, the quickest lap time of this race. There we go, there's contact between Hugo Zasse and Maximilian Paul. Maximilian Paul, is there damage on that car that he's so slow this time round? Not quite, he was just thrown to the inside of the track. And there we go, that bump there has proven tricky one time now. And there's Maximilian Paul under attack from Daniel Sommer. Can he make it stick? Was all over the inside curb there, almost cutting the track. And Maximilian Paul is going to get that back. Daniel Sommer isn't going to get that pass that easy.
No, he really has to fight for that one. Springer, Pass, Böckmann, and now Moser, I think, all going into pit lane. There it is. Everybody in pit lane now. So Mikko Bolzotti will inherit the lead in just a couple of seconds there. Oh, and there's the contact through the chicane. That looked a bit clumsy, I'd say. And now he's trying to turn the car around. We can have a look
Quite
at...
working for him, is it?
No, that hasn't quite worked. Let's see where the other drivers are coming up, because Jan-Philipp Springop, he might be rejoining in a very good position there, actually. Let's see where he ends up in P5 at the moment. So he's done very well after the pit stop, after the very late pit stop, but even weller, I'd say, did this man, Pascal Haas. Very late pit stop and rejoins the track in position 3 in a podium position.
Well, that overcut has worked to bits for him. What a strategy from Pascal Haas. And here we have the battle for the lead once again. Robert Hager down the inside of Michael Bortolotti. Michael Bortolotti, his pit lane time a second or 1.5 seconds quicker than Robert Hager. But maybe just a little bit under fuel that has to save fuel now. Michael Bortolotti. Robert Hager, though, is pushing this car to the absolute limit. A little bit over the limit there even, because he was using more than the track was allowing him. Michael Bortolotti, what an exit there out of the right-hander. No. Now, through Hudson-Bach, and, well, what a drive for Michael Bortolotti. He has the inside for chicane now, makes that stick, and Robert Hager is going to play it all on exit, probably. There we go. Is that going to give him back P1? Not quite, though. Michael Bortolotti will lead the last lap. But is he going to come across the line, leading in the end as well?
We'll see. Hey, Robert Hager, he's got some great pace tonight in those Toyotas. He's really taking the fight to Mirko, which is always great to see, of course, having such a close fight all race pretty much for the lead. Very, very, very exciting racing to watch here. I love how much those Toyotas are jumping around. You can really see the drivers having to pretty much wrestle with their cars to get them to stay in lane or to not flip over or anything, as we saw with Daniel Sommer at the beginning of the race, where he pretty much almost flipped the car through the next corner where the drivers are about to drive through. Let's see how they are managing it this time around. Oh, you can still see it. I mean, you can still see jumping so much. That is really, really unbelievable. How they managed to keep it going like that. I think that fight is not looking too hot at the moment, but we've got one heating up maybe behind them for P8. Hugo Sasse against Cedric Augustin, just 1/2 separating those two drivers. Is there a chance for Hugo Sasse? We've seen some overtakes, or at least some attempts into the chicane. I think we'll stick with Hugo, see if he tries something into the chicane. Drops a bit back behind there, but doesn't look like he can do anything there. So let's look at the winner of not only Heat 1 and qualifying, but the feature race. It is our championship leader, and he extends his championship lead, Mirko Bortolotti.
Well, on course for another go at a Grand Slam. I don't know if he had the fastest lap. If I'm correct, he did not. Best lap, of course, by Mirko Bortolotti. A 1:41.06. Quickest lap by Marius Zug, a 1:40.9. So for a full Grand Slam, he's not on with everything. But with all the wins, he could still be on for his second one, because he already has one.
Yeah, he's got the wins. He's got all the wins he could get at the moment. And we see another overtake just before the line. Sean Terre gets past Markus Deutsch. Again, not even 2/10 separating those two. Not even 200ths of a second separating those two. I'm sorry. So, still all the way up until the line, the drivers are fighting for the positions, and we love to see that. And now everybody is in the finishing. That is Heat 2. Thank you very much, SDK. That's not what I wanted. That's the one I wanted. It's the feature race results, and we saw it. A very good race. I really enjoyed that one. As I say, the slower cars very often make for some great racing, and I think they did so as well here tonight with the Toyotas on the Nürburgring.
Definitely they did, Kevin. And well, I have to say, what a drive from all the drivers. Mikkel Bottas, of course, winning that one ahead of Robert Hega in P2, P3 for Niels Langeveld. But wow, Heat 1, Heat 2 qualifying feature race. They were on it all the time. And I think Daniel Zoma was on it as well from the get-go. And, well, the thing is, with that little incident that he had, of course, for 2 wheels on the inside lifting off the ground, well, that's just testament to, I feel, how not well built this car is. It still has a little bit too much grip at sometimes. It's not sliding as much as it should. In my opinion, of course, everyone can have his different opinion about that, Kevin. You probably do as well, but that shouldn't happen with a race car.
Well,
Especially not with a Toyota GR86, that it has so much grip on those left-hand side tires that it almost barrel rolled itself.
it's probably not really set up like a real race car. I'm guessing. I have driven it only for a short period of time. It's of course. I think if we want to say it I want to say it in a positive way, let's say like that, it is a different challenge for our drivers, as it has shown. And at least for me, it was very fun to watch. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, you're not the only one enjoying it, Kevin. It's a great car to drive at the moment, but, well, especially for these things, it's no fault of Daniel Sommer himself. He just does exactly the same as he does all the time around that corner. And he just goes in with a K or two more, and the car just decides to barrel roll itself instead of sliding out of the corner.
Yeah. We've seen how easy it can happen, so not much more, I think, at least I can say about that. As we are now waiting for the second server and the draw and everything, we are just going into a quick break. So you guys stay tuned. We will be back very shortly with the second server and tonight in the 10th week of season 4. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. And we are back with the second server of week 10 in the W12 Sprint Series. Sorry for my voice. And we are at a place which is very near and dear to my colleague's heart. Dan, this one is just yours.
It's not completely mine. I would argue that Zolder is my home track, which is also on iRacing, because that for me is like 30 minutes of driving away.
Oh, well then.
But well, if we don't consider closest to my home as your home track, well, Zandvoort is definitely my home track. Yes.
Well, it's great that you've got two like very popular tracks in your country with Zolder and Zandvoort, or well, Zolder is Zolder in the Netherlands. I thought.
No, it's Belgium.
It's in Belgium, yeah. I thought so. So we've come a bit closer to finding out where Dan actually lives. So just 30 minutes from the Belgian border, it seems. Yeah, but it's in your home country, so I thought that would make it also very special to you.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
I live like 5 minutes away, not even 5 minutes away from crossing the Belgian border. So yeah, I'm quite close to the Belgian people. They're close to my heart.
Close to your heart. All right. Let's get back to the action. So we're in Zandvoort. I feel, if I'm correct, I'm not too familiar with the track and everything, but I think that iRacing does not. I just bought it, exactly. I think that iRacing does not have the latest version of it. Am I correct?
It does not. It does not. So it does not have the banked Arie Luijendijk bocht and the Bankhugenholz. That is, those corners are still as flat as a pancake here. So yeah, not banked at all, those corners. Well, they are a little bit banked. They were already a little bit banked here. You can see it, but not as banked. Not nearly as much as they are now, of course. So yeah, the drivers are going to have to well, find their way around that. Of course, if they were used to a different layout. And I am waiting for iRacing to scan the new track, because I would be excited to race on that track. Ooh, that's a little bit too wide for Mako. There we go, and that's Mako around. But yeah, Mako Botrati once again quickest here. Chanter said to me, and he said this in a way that I was like, okay, I believe him. The TCRs is not my car. I only have the Audi. Well, as we both know, the Audi, Kevin, not the best car to be in the TCRs and iRacing. A lot of people have chosen the Audi, though. But also a lot of people, the Hyundai. And that's usually the car that we see most, because that is the quickest car. Just straight to the point, that is the quickest car. But Chanter in the Audi. Not the preferred car, P2, just 2 tenths behind Mirko Bortolotti. And now, Florian Becker in P2. Oh, in P1, excuse me.
Of course, you're very much correct, as we see the times tumbling down. Robert Heger now putting it in P2. The Hyundai is, in iRacing terms, the fastest car, the fastest TCR. But of course, we have made some adjustments to the performance. We've got a BOP for the TCRs, so to try and make them more in line with each other, and it seems like it's not working out, because the top 3 cars are now Hyundais at the moment.
Well, it's still very early days here, Kevin, in this practice session. Still 5 minutes to go, plus an open qualifying of 17 minutes as well. So still a long time to go here in this session. And, well, like I always say, it's not over till it's over. Niels Langeveld can be quickest now. But where he really has to be quickest is in the qualifying session. Is quickest at the moment with a gap of 3.5 tenths. So that's quite a considerable margin here, Kevin.
Yeah, he looks very, very comfortable here in his Hyundai around Zandvoort. He's doing, I mean, 3/10 to P2, and then the gap just gets bigger and bigger. So he's very far ahead at the moment. Let's hope for him that it wasn't a one-off, that he can do that consistently, and maybe that will pay off in the qualifying session. But as you said, we're only in practice now. The one where it counts is just the next session ahead. So he's gotta stay on it if he wants to maybe grab pole position and maybe grab a victory here in the second server.
Well, if he could do that, that would be amazing. Of course, Michael Bortolotti is hoping that he can't do that and all the victories will go to him, including pole position. But, well, let's just say here, Kev, that no matter what happens at this track, in terms of qualifying, it's going to be important because overtaking is proving difficult at this track. And look at that. Niels Langeveld, 147.079. Now a gap of 0.6 of a second to Jan-Philipp Springop. What a time from Niels Langeveld. And he's just going quicker, and quicker.
Unbelievable stuff there by Niels at the moment. He's really showing his skills behind the wheel of a TCR car. Yeah, champion, and that for a good... And you can see the reason why. He's unbelievably fast in those cars. And, I mean, 0.6 almost to Jan-Philipp Springop. That is eternity.
In racing it is. In terms of general life, that's usually something that we do not think about. Even seconds sound short when you talk about time in general. But in racing, a second is almost an eternity for these drivers. A second behind is a lot.
Yeah.
But
look,
people are getting closer, Kevin. Like I said, very early days still in this practice session. But yeah, with the 47.0, of course, a track that Niels is driven at in real life as well multiple times. So not only in the sim, but in real life as well. So you will know this track in and out. And, well, that's also helping in terms of experience on this track. He's going to come across the line. If I look at Niels Langeveld's sector times, it's only purple. He's going to stop in front of the line, though. A 47.079 will be it. Because he's not going to come out on track again and set a lap time in this practice session. The Hondas, not a lot of them in there. I think only one, or no, two. Mikko Bortotti in the Honda and Benjamin Moser in the Honda. Those are the only Hondas. For the rest, a lot of Audis and Hyundais.
Yeah, that seems like the popular choices here. Maybe let's look at this Audi. Why not? Marius Zug. He's been fast, I feel like in the first server. Didn't quite manage, of course, to get the great positions, also because of his penalty that he had to serve with the pit lane start. But he has shown some good pace. Not at the moment here in the second server. In the TCRs, only P14 for Marius Zug. He might want to improve on that a bit. If we're looking at the gap, almost 1.7 seconds behind Niels Langeveld. And a great drift there into the tire barrier. And we see the new
Not
damage
too great
mode.
of a drift, is it?
Yeah, it looked better at the beginning.
Well, Kev, we're coming to the end of practice. We're at the end of the practice session. Who do you say is going to pick up the pole position here?
Well, you can't really look past this man that is standing here on pit exit. Niels Langeveld, with that performance that he has shown. And I feel like he knew that that last lap was very fast. And I feel like he aborted it to maybe keep it hidden. To maybe not show his full potential.
Look at that. Kev, look at that. The shots from that pit lane, early qualifying. When when that line goes green, everyone is on it like it's a race. Unbelievable. And that always gives you beautiful pictures. I think at some point people were 3 wide coming out of the pit lane, which is something we usually never see.
No, definitely not. But it's as you said, it's always a great shot when the open qualifying begins and the cars just start rushing out of pit lane, just trying to get a good position for qualifying. Of course, we've got 17 minutes, so should be enough time for everybody to really get a good lap in. But of course, I mean, with the open qualifying, you want to get in as many good laps as you can. You don't have the stress of nailing it on your first lap as you do in the first server. So you can really push not only 100, but maybe 105, maybe 110%, and really try to get the most out of it. Because if you make a mistake, you do get another shot in the open qualifying session.
Yeah, and that's why usually the times in practice relate to the times here in qualifying. I don't know where Mirko Bortolotti was. I don't think the Honda is the best choice he could have done. But in terms of championship, I don't think he will bother too much. If it's not as good of an evening for him, it will probably just be a drop score for him, because he has had so many great evenings here and so many great servers. Great people there in the background waving at us from the tunnel.
Well, he has had a week where he has not competed, so that will be probably his drop week. And I mean, he still won every race in the first server, so he still got a lot of points tonight, and you can't see getting him past at least a good position. He might not win it if Niels is on his pace that he has shown in the practice session. You can't really see at the moment, I think, anybody else but Niels winning this race if he manages again to keep his pace. But still, I think Mirko is always in for a shot at least a good position, a very good position. So he will fight to get it here as well. And again, qualifying has just started. He hasn't performed too well in practice, you're correct about that. But you never know what he might unleash as soon as it's the real competition, as we have it now in qualifying.
Yeah. Well, Niels Langeveld purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 3. Sector 4, though, is the sector where he's going to come to now. This is going to be purple there as well. Yes, it is for a split second, because Jan-Philipp Springhoff behind him takes away that purple sector in Sector 4. Sector 5, though, a very short sector. What can he do there? 13.82 in that sector. Purple again. But again, Jan-Philipp Springhoff with about 400ths of a second takes that sector away from him. Niels Langeveld here is under attack from Jan-Philipp Springhoff. He could be very close to Niels Langeveld. Let's see, across the line, his first lap. Of course, not a lot will depend on this first lap, because they are going to get quicker. 0.6 of a second. Jan-Philipp Springhoff, 0.3 of a second already behind that 47.6 from Niels Langeveld. And we suspect, Kevin, that with the purple sectors he was setting in practice with a 47.0 on the board already, that he's probably going to be in the 46 highs.
It will be interesting to see. Yeah, you're probably right. He should be able to get those to get those 46, 146 times in. He's still a bit far off now, but it was his first lap. Probably just getting to grips with the car, warming up the tires and everything. So from now on, you should start to see the times drop. Everybody else has got not very good times as well. I mean, only Langeveld and Springhoff are in the 47s as of now. Everybody else still in the 48s. So the car is probably not completely warmed up yet, the tires and everything. So those times should start dripping down ever so slightly every lap. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, well, Niels Langeveld once again posting purple sector times. Sector 4 here, let's see what he can do. Not an improvement in Sector 4. Sector 5, that's got to be an improvement. A purple sector for him there. Hendrik Augustin purple in Sector 2.
Sector 4 taken by Jan Philipp Springop, so it's a battle between the three at the top already at the moment. But yeah, Niels Langeveld, purple. That's the team of his lap time at the moment. Across the line, it will be a 1:47.066 for him. So a great lap time there for Niels Langeveld. I have a feeling, Kev, that he can still improve.
Yeah, I also think that he's now at the right about the time that he posted in practice, and he was still improving there. So he's got that in him. As you said, a 46 I think is very much possible. But you gotta say, Jan Philipp Springop at the moment also performing very well. 47-2, not too far behind Niels Langeveld, and managing to take 1 or 2 sectors away from Niels at the moment. So he looks like a good shout for a top position as well at the moment.
While still improving is Jan Philipp Springop. Niels Langeveld is not doing the same through Sector 1 and 2. Through Sector 3 though, it is a purple sector for Niels Langeveld. That's the sector where he was lacking. Sector 4 as well, that's a purple sector. But Jan Philipp Springop improving everywhere as well. And that's the exact same sector time for Jan Philipp Springop at 22.36 in Sector 4 for Jan Philipp Springop as well as Niels Langeveld. Now the purple sector goes to Mikko Bortolotti at 22.33 in Sector 4. So it's looking rather close between the top 5 at the moment in this qualifying session. I do expect Niels Langeveld to go to a 1:46 now across the line. There we go, Niels Langeveld across the line. Is it a 46 for him? It's not. Oh, just not.
Wow.
147.008. A 147.104 for Jan Philipp Springop. And Mikko Bortolotti with a 147.221.
It is getting very close at the top. Jan Philipp Springop, as I said, posting some very good times. Only a 10th behind Niels Langeveld. So it is getting mighty close at the top. And Niels Langeveld will really have to pull a good lap out if he wants to keep Jan Philipp Springop behind, because he seems like a man on a mission right now. Let's maybe jump down a bit, look at some other guys. Let's look straight into the midfield, which would be probably about here. Thomas Pieber in P12. One of the many Audis out on track. No Audis in the top 3. That is Hyundai and Honda territory at the moment. As of Honda, we talked about it. Only 2 Hondas in the field. The other one a bit further down the field. Mikko Bortolotti in 3rd and Benjamin Moser in the 2nd Honda. Down in P14. What do we got? Maybe around here. Martin Stadtmann. Usually one of the faster drivers. Martin. Down in P18 at the moment. 148.293. Not the best lap he's got right now, but still a lot of time for him to maybe improve there. 2 drivers haven't set a lap time at all at the moment. Chanter, who is on his outlap, and there it is. We gotta look over 146.7. Wow. What a time by Niels Langeveld.
Not the only one in the 46 though. Hendrik Augustin, 146.765.
Wow.
Only 23,000 of a second off of Niels Langeveld. Doing a great job in that Audi.
Wow. You really gotta say, where did that one come from? Augustin wasn't... I didn't have him on the radar in the practice session as being that unbelievably fast. I mean, we know that Hendrik is a fast driver. He's always been a very fast driver. Hendrik Augustin here in the Audi. But wow, that is quite the time that he has posted right now. here in the qualifying session. So close to Niels Langeveld.
Well, Niels Langeveld under attack, and I don't think he expected that. He needed that 146 because he knew he was... Well, he could do it, but I don't think he knew he needed it as much as he did, or as much as he does right now. Hendrik Augustin once again improving, so it hasn't come out of nowhere. Hendrik Augustin has improved in Sector 2, so does Niels Langeveld this time round, but he is on an outlap. It's a competitive lap, this one, from Hendrik Augustin, and we could maybe see Hendrik Augustin go to pole position here.
Well, let's see. He's coming down the start-finish straight. Where can he put his Audi? Can he overtake Niels Langeveld with that lap? He cannot, it seems like. No.
Oh, he did improve.
He did
improve by 0.005 of a second.
But SDK is having a couple of issues right now on my end. I don't know if it's the same for you, Dan. But for the stream, I'm sorry.
It seems to be the same, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting stuck a bit at the moment. Having problems connecting. We'll see. I hope it fixes itself. I don't think I have anything else going in the background. So yeah, let's hope it picks up again. And will be not too much of a problem going forward. Worked well in the first server. But yeah, looks good at the moment. Let's get back to the action, I'd say. Josh Files now jumping up to P3 with a 1:47.009, so also he's very close to getting that 46 lap time in. And the drivers are just inching closer and closer. Look at that. Pascal Lars, Jan Philipp spring up 0.002 of a second at the moment, separating the two drivers. I think the stream shouldn't have any problems connection wise, so I think the stream should be smooth. It's just SDK that is acting up at the moment. I hope, at least if it's just that, as long as the stream is going well. I think that's the more important part.
We should be good to go.
Good. Yeah. Let's hope. Let's just hope it all keeps up.
Yeah. Well, at the moment we have, if I'm correct, about 3.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Niels Langeveld still on top with that 146.742 and a 146.760 for Hendrik Augustin. And Josh Files has improved last time round. Wasn't able, though, Kev, to get into the 146s. So it seems like that 146 is a really quick lap time, but they've both Niels Langeveld and Hendrik Augustin have just been pumping out those lap times.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff by those two guys. What they are performing unbelievably well at the moment, as you can see. Both of them 0.3 pretty much ahead of P3, and that is getting it doesn't seem like any other driver can really push into those 46s. I mean, Josh Files very close, but couldn't really improve after that, and all of the other drivers are still a bit further away. So Langeveld, Augustin, they look like the guys to beat here tonight in the TCRs at Zandvoort.
Well, 2 minutes left of qualifying, Kevin. And I have a feeling that at the top, nothing is going to change between the two of them. maybe someone else can enter that fight, but Niels Langeveld has been in the pits for quite a long time. Hendrik Augustin in the pits now as well. And I don't expect them to, come out again, because they both think that they have done everything they could, and they cannot do another lap anymore.
It just goes to show how quick those lap times actually are. That those two guys are saying, okay, we can't do much more than that. And it is.
Well, Niels Langeveld
fast.
was standing in the pits for.
Yeah, well, Niels Langeveld was standing in the pits for I don't know how long already. So that's just a testament to how quick Niels Langeveld thought that lap was, and maybe he thinks himself that he can't improve on that anymore. That's why he's been standing in the pits already.
Let's see if they get proven wrong, or if they are absolutely correct with their thoughts on that. A lot of drivers now in pit lane, of course. It's closing out the qualifying session, so no real reason to go out anymore. Still got a couple of drivers on track. Zug made a bit of a mistake there. Only 20 seconds left, so I don't think anybody is really close enough to finish another lap. Maybe Benjamin Moser here in P14. He looks very close to the end. He might be able to get another time in, but doesn't do so. He jumps into pit lane. And that didn't sound very good there. That sounded a bit of a crash with the wall there. But that's it. That is...
there we go. We have our grid for race 1.
We have our grid for race 1. There it is.
Well, Niels Langeveld will be starting from pole position, ahead of Hendrik Augustin in second, Josh Files in third, fourth Pascal Haas, Jans Friedrich Springer in P5, P6 for Robert Hega, P7 for Michael Bortolotti. Not where we're used to seeing him, but that Honda not as quick as it was before. I see, Kevin, that we have a full formation lap ahead of us. So I am going to take my time with announcing this grid. Because, well, there is so much time we have with the full lap around the Zandvoort circuit that we can tell something about the drivers. Patrick Hen, the first silver driver on the grid in P8. Look at that. P9, 10, 11, and 12, not silver drivers. So he already has 4 positions over the next silver driver. Clement Schmidt in 9th. Of course, the man from Austria. Of course, the man who we also know from the DTM as well in the Lamborghini. Thomas Pieber in P10, also from Austria. Hugo Sasse in 11th. He's from Germany, the man from racing for GasX Racing Team. 8/10 was the gap for him to the quickest lap time from Niels Langeveld, that 1:46.742. Jens Fiedler for Bravio Fliatore Bobsport in the number 55 on P12. Then in P13 we have Marius Zug for the BS competition. Benjamin Moser in P14 for Otto Sim Races. Julien Rambo in P15 for the Bulldog Designs. GasX Racing Teams. Florian Becker in P16. P17 for Maximilian Paul and GasX Racing Team as well. And GasX Racing Team is also in P18 with Martin Stadtmann. Schonter for Schonter Performance in P19. Marek Beckmann for MNJ Performance in P20. Marcus Deutsch in P21 for the Austin Sim Races. 22nd on the grid, and we'll be starting this race from 22nd. Christian Maya for the Austin Sim Races. 23rd, Stefano Pellegrino for the GasX Racing Team. P24 for FBP Racing. Florian Stadtmann. P25 for Matthias Lebelt, also for the FBP Racing Team. That's the grid for this first race here on Zandvoort. Of course, the Ford Mustang pace car leading us away here. I'm not used to seeing a rolling start for the TCRs here, Kevin. Usually in the TCRs it's a standing start, so I don't know what exactly has happened. Maybe something has gone wrong with the server settings. we can only assume that. Maybe it is correct and we are wrong. That's also an option. But I think all the other times we saw a standing start with the TCRs.
Yeah, I think that probably has something to do with the switch. Of course, the TCRs back then were server 1 cars, and now they're server 2 cars, which I think just means that you get a rolling start this time around. Because yeah, back then we used to have standing starts, but I think that's just the separation between server 1 and server 2, if I'm correct in thinking that. But that's the explanation that that makes the most sense right now, considering the W12 format and everything. So I think it's that.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That's the explanation of why we're having a rolling start. Gazak's racing team have looked out that pole position with Niels Langeveld. Alongside that, of course, Hendrik Augustin. What a drive from Hendrik Augustin, I have to say. We're used to seeing him up the field, but not that close usually to the pole sitter in qualifying. In the race, he usually has some great race pace. But when it comes to that qualifying pace, Kev, normally he's not one of the drivers that we see as a man for the pole position. But he's proven very quick here in qualifying, and I don't think Niels Langeveld is going to have an easy race.
No, definitely not. Those two drivers, Niels and Augustin, Niels and Hendrik, they have looked unbelievably quick in the qualifying sessions, and those two should have a great race coming up very, very shortly. As we see the drivers still behind the safety car. A lot of talking has been going on in the pre-race briefing about the starting procedure. So let's hope it all goes well this time around. So you see the cars still following the Ford Mustang there around the track.
Well, there we go. The last corner has been rounded off, Kev. There we go. The start of the first race in server 2.
Mustang drives off into the pit lane. Now it's all up to Niels Langeveld. And there he goes. Green, green, green. We're off in the first race of the second server here tonight in the W12 Sprint Series. Niels Langeveld, great start there by him. He's got the lead going into turn 1. Hendrik Augustin trying to hold it around the outside, but Niels keeps the position there. And it also looks in the back, everybody looks like they have come through the first corners very nicely there. And Hendrik Augustin trying to keep up with Niels Langeveld, who's had, as we said, a very, very good start there. Managed to keep his first position and is now leading the race. 15 minutes are between him and the victory in this first race of 2 in the second server. And there it goes, Hendrik Augustin there, going a bit wide, and now Josh Files takes the chance. There's a bit of a contact there between the two of them, but I think... Oh, and there's another contact, and Josh Files is spun around, and he's dropping down the field there, all the way to the final last position. And if there's one man that will be happy about this, it's this man right here, Niels Langeveld, who now pretty much has his biggest rival for this race out of the running, at least for the victory at the moment.
Well, there we go, Niels Langeveld. 1.7 seconds is the lead for him now. And Robert Hega behind that. In P2, 4 positions up from his starting spot. Pascal Haas up 1 position in third, and Mikko Bortolotti in that Honda in P4. Not too bad. In the reverse grid race, he will be starting further up the grid than Niels Langeveld. Maybe then he can go for that victory. Maybe even now, because the gap is only 2.5 seconds. And Mikko Bortolotti, as we know, in the race can be very consistent. And if he can get past Pascal Haas and Robert Hega, there might be a chance that he's able to catch up to Niels Langeveld.
We'll see. He will have a lot of work ahead of him because, of course, Pascal Haas and Robert Hega won't give up their positions that easily. Pascal Haas and Robert Hega both have also shown very good pace in this qualifying session before, so they won't be easy to get by at any point in the race. And of course, Niels Langeveld probably pretty much will be the fastest driver on track right now, with Augustin in the middle of the pack. So, and the gap very slightly, but it is increasing at the moment. We started with 2 seconds at the start of this lap. Now it's up to 2.2 seconds, 2.3 seconds. So he is getting away from the guys behind him at the moment.
Yeah, well, what more can Niels Langeveld ask for? His biggest rival at the moment, of course, a big setback for him. Niels Langeveld now 2.2 seconds at that gap. I think will be ever increasing with the pace that Niels Langeveld was showing in qualifying and practice to Robert Hega. Pascal Haas, though, what can he do compared to Robert Hega? That gap is opening up little by little as well. Mikko Bortolotti, can he attack, though, as long as Pascal Haas will have that slipstream? He's good to go, I think, and Mikko Bortolotti can't get past because the run up this back straight is not long.
No, it really isn't, and the corner, turn 1 with the banking, also I think very difficult to really overtake on the inside, because I feel like the guy on the outside does really have a good chance there to keep up with you on the inside because of the banking. We'll see how that one unfolds during the race, if there is any overtaking there in the first corner. But at the moment, as you said, Robert Hega gaining from Pascal Haas, Langeveld at the front gaining from Hega. Only Pascal Haas really can't get away from Mikko Bortolotti right now, who is very much stuck in his rearview mirror at the moment. But also he's under it. He might be coming under attack from Jan-Philipp Springhoff, who is also very close to him. So we've got a lot of potential fights brewing on the surface here in the TCRs.
Well, Philip Springhoff, can he defend from Clement Schmidt? Clement Schmidt already up 3 positions. Hendrik Augustin behind that, looking to come back as well. Of course, 5 positions down on where he started. He was alongside Niels Langeveld, is now behind Clement Schmidt in 7th. Clement Schmidt can't find his way past Jan-Philipp Springhoff. Yes, Jan-Philipp Springhoff. Mikko Bortolotti here tried to get past Pascal Haas. They're side by side, leading on to the front straight. And Mikko Bortolotti has that one done. And Jan-Philipp Springhoff denies Pascal Haas to get to the inside, so Mikko Bortolotti can defend that again at 147.4049 for Niels Langeveld. Mikko Bortolotti defending in turn 1. Jan-Philipp Springhoff having a look as well to try and overtake Pascal Haas as well. He's going to follow Mikko Bortolotti through. And that is, at the moment, P4 for Jan-Philipp Springhoff. But around the outside, though, goes Pascal Haas again. What a drive from Pascal Haas to try and defend this from Jan-Philipp Springhoff. Difficult enough to do so. The inside now through the left-hander. And this is a fight that is going to roar on through the Skyvlog. And, well, you want to be on the inside for the next couple of corners, the next right-hander. And I don't think that Pascal Haas is going to carry that around the outside.
No, he doesn't. Very good call there, Dan. Jan-Philipp Springhoff manages to take that away from him. And now even Pascal Haas losing another one to Clement Schmidt, who might be going up 2 positions there. Look at how close everything is right now. That is unbelievable stuff there by our 3 drivers. Going 3 wide here for 1-2 corners. And now Pascal Haas. Oh, and there's the contact! Jan-Philipp Springhoff! He's been turned around there. Just quickly maybe trying to get the view there. What happened there? Jan-Philipp Springhoff there at the front. and then just gets pretty much, yeah. Didn't look great there.
No, that did absolutely not. Jan-Philipp Springop, he looks to have got away with not too much damage. That car looks fine from my point of view. I don't know how it looks on stream. This could be different for me. But that car, the front of that car looks good for me.
That looks surprisingly good after the crash he's had. Also
it doesn't feel like it, I think, if we see him now go into the pit lane. Well, at the rear, it wasn't as hard of a hit in the rear. It was just at a point where it just turned the car around very easily. I don't know. He could have gotten away with it, but the fact that he's gone into the pit lane now does worry me quite a lot here, Kevin.
Well, I mean, he's got the fast repair, and I mean he's dropped down a lot of positions anyway, so you know, might be the time to say, okay, then let's just try another strategy. Let's get into the pit lane. Let's get that pit stop out of the way, clear up any damage that I maybe have with the quick repairs, fast repairs, and just go for it again. You have lost at that point a lot of positions anyway, so I think just going into the pit lane and just rethinking your strategy might not be such a bad idea.
No, Clement Schmidt still hasn't got past Pascal Haas, and Hendrik Augustin is stuck behind Clement Schmidt as well, because this is, well, like we always say and like we're used to, a slipstream train here at Zandvoort. Clement Schmidt has the slipstream, and Hendrik Augustin is going to do something about that. He's going to pit, and he's going to try the undercut on Pascal Haas and Clement Schmidt. He might have been able to do that a little bit earlier on. I have a feeling Schmidt and Pascal Haas are going to react. At least Haas is going to react. Schmidt might feel that he's quicker when he is ahead of Pascal Haas or alone. So he might continue for one more lap. I expect Haas to go into the pit lane to cover off Hendrik Augustin as soon as possible.
We'll see how that strategy plays out. I just wanted to mention Niels Langeveld, last lap time 1:46.71. So pretty much on qualifying pace right now, and it shows in the gap. He's almost got a 5-second gap to P2 to Robert Heger. Back to the action here with Pascal Haas and Clement Schmidt.
Well, Pascal Haas, we've seen it for how long have they been fighting now? I think since the lights went out, they've been fighting and fighting and fighting. 5 minutes left, a little bit less here in this first race, of course. Race 2, a little bit longer than this one. Mirko Bortolotti in third. Also still has to make his pit stop. The people who still have to make their pit stop: Niels Langeveld, Robert Heger, Mirko Bortolotti, Pascal Haas, Clement Schmidt and Marek Buckman all have to make their pit stop. Marek Buckman has a 6.7 second gap to Clement Schmidt. Marius Sugdo will definitely get out ahead of Haas and Schmidt, I have a feeling. Pit lane time about 26 seconds, so it could still be close between those two, I'm afraid. There we go. There goes Pascal Haas immediately into the pit lane. The next lap they've gone in. And Clement Schmidt doesn't feel he's quicker in clean air and follows him in. Or it could be the case that Clement Schmidt can't continue because the tank is empty.
Well, two drivers that have continued are Niels Langeveld and Mirko Bortolotti, as well as Marek Buckman, it seems like. Yeah, he's gone past pit lane as well. So those three drivers still got a bit of fuel in their tanks left. But, I mean, look at the gap. 6.2 seconds, Niels Langeveld, and still increasing. This man is on fire right now. Really pumping out those fast laps right now. And you can see why he chose to pit as late as possible, because why wouldn't you if you're that fast at the moment?
Yeah, well, Mirko Bortolotti and Marek Buckman have done exactly the same. It also prevents you from coming out in traffic. So you will always have clean air as the leader, because you will never come out in lap traffic if you don't, or in traffic that is slower than you, which is going to slow you up eventually if you don't pit before they do. So very smart there from Niels Langeveld. I'm already excited, I have to say, Kevin, to see what Niels Langeveld can do in that reverse grid race, because he looks mighty quick here in this TCRs on Zandvoort. Of course, a track that he knows very well from MX5 racing he has done here. I don't know if he's been here in the touring cars. I expect he has, from his experience in touring car racing, but he's definitely been here a couple of times in the MX5, so he knows this track in and out.
And now he's jumping into pit lane, not even, or just about 2 minutes left in this race, so just ahead of the end there. The top 3 drivers having to pit now. Still a lot of close fighting going on all around the field, as Niels Langeveld is now leaving pit lane, still in P1, and not far away now from his maybe victory here. He looks right on pace to do that right about now. Robert Heger is in P3 right now, and Marius Zug in P4, up 9 positions as well. So very good drive at the moment from Marius, who still has to fight off Pascal Haas, who is right behind him at the moment. Couple of other close fights. Josh Files up the inside, and there is maybe the contact there, I'm thinking. It looked very close there. And Josh Files up another position there. Another close fight. We've got Florian Becker defending from Stefano Pellegrino, but it gets very close up here. Back at the top, Marius Zug, Pascal Haas, 2 tenths only, separating those 2 drivers.
Well, what a drive it has been from Niels Langeveld. It's going to be close, though, to enter the last lap. I have a feeling Niels Langeveld is going to, well, put one more lap to it, because, well, he's been mighty quick. Mirko Bortolotti has been eating into that lead. He's only going to start 1 position ahead of Niels Langeveld at the moment. So that's not going to give him the advantage he probably wanted. But Mirko Bortolotti is, well, still in second. The pit lane time for Mirko Bortolotti, about 7 tenths quicker than Niels Langeveld. So if they are close, and if Mirko could stay in the slipstream of Niels Langeveld, we could see an exciting race too. Niels Langeveld has indeed, or was indeed quick enough to get 1 more lap added to a total of 8 lap times that it, or 8 laps that it was already. So we're going to finish with 9 laps. Now I expect that to be about 11 in the next race. But, well, Mirko Bortolotti has done everything he could, Kevin, to catch up to Niels Langeveld. Niels Langeveld was just too quick.
Yeah, he was very quick, especially in that first stint before the pit stops. He was just banging out lap times, unbelievably quick lap times, and just opened up that gap, and probably just could take it a bit easier for the let's say second stint after the pit stop, as Pascal Haas is still trying to find a way around Marius Zug ahead of him, but just doesn't quite seem to find an opening, to find a gap where he might be able to overtake. But it's very close, not only between those 2, but of course Clemens Schmidt right behind them, also trying maybe to gain a position there. We'll see if anything comes up in those final corners of this first race. Look at how close this is getting. But still, again, not enough there for Pascal Haas as they are entering the final corners, which I don't think really lend themselves to overtaking. Niels Langeveld has won the first race here in Zandvoort ahead of Mirko Bortolotti and Robert Heger.
Second with the Honda.
Second with the Honda. Marius Zug manages, of course, to keep that P4 ahead of Pascal Haas and Clemens Schmidt. And now we see the drivers one by one driving over the finishing line.
how gutting for Jan-Philipp Springop. He looked quick in that race. He looked very good defensively in that race. And, well, through no fault of his own, I feel he's been spun round. Of course, that was not on purpose at all. But yeah, it happens sometimes, and it's very unfortunate to see happen, Kevin.
Yes.
But he will definitely be coming back, I think, in race 2. But we do know, Kev, take your time with the lineup for race 2, because we do have a full formation lap to go over. And that's going to take quite a long time.
Yeah, we again got the warm-up
Have a
session.
warm-up. Yep.
So we'll just pop up the Heat 1 results. We've gone through it. So you can have just a quick look at it before the grid pops up. The very interesting thing that I wanted to add with Jan-Philipp Springop, he is in P17. He finished in P17. Hendrik Augustin in P18. And we all know what that means. Those two guys will start in 1 and 2 for the reverse grid race. And knowing how fast, especially Augustin was, with that gap that he's got now, ahead of the really other fast drivers, Nils Langeveld especially, is that maybe a bit, in German we say Glück im Unglück, so luck in the bad luck, some good luck within the bad luck for Hendrik Augustin, because he starts from pole position now.
Yeah. Well, also for Jan-Philipp Springop as well, he of course got spun round, and he's now in second. But there we go. There is the grid, ladies and gentlemen. This time I'm not going to go over it because I did it, well, very extensively in the first race. Kevin, how is your go to go at it whilst these drivers go on their formation lap?
Yeah, so as we said, yeah, Hendrik Augustin and Jan-Philipp Springop, they are starting from the first row on the grid. And with the pace those two guys got, can anybody catch up to them? Can even the fastest man on track, Nils Langeveld, can he catch up to those two guys when they are starting at the front and have got that gap right at the start? I don't know. I don't know. If nothing happens, I can't see Niels really getting that one, because those two guys are just gonna really, they should just fly off in the first lap, fly away from everybody else, and that gap, to overcome that gap, will be one hell of a task for Nils Langeveld. Markus Deutsch starts in P3 ahead of Jens Fiedler. Chanter, Stefano Pellegrino, P5, P6. So the third row of the grid for those guys. Florian Becker starts ahead of Marek Böckmann, P7 and P8. Martin Stadtmann, Maximilian Paul, a Gas X Racing row 5 with P9 and P10. Julien Rambeau in P11 ahead of Benjamin Moser in P12. A lot of silver drivers in the top 12 that we can see there. Clemens Schmidt starts from P13, Pascal Haas from P14, and Marius Zug in P15. I mentioned them in one go because those were the guys that kept us entertained for a lot of the last race. Let's see if they can do it once again this time round. Robert Heger starts from P16, ahead of Mirko Bortolotti, P17, and Nils Langeveld, of course, as the winner of the first race. He now has to start in P18, and he's got quite, as I said, he's got quite the job ahead of him if he wants to get another good position, if he maybe wants to get another victory. He's got the pace, but he's got his work cut out if he wants to manage that. Josh Files, a driver who has also been very fast, I think. Down in P19, so he didn't have the greatest of first races. Ahead of Christian Meyer in P20. Patrick Henn starts from P21. Thomas Pieper from P22. Florian Stadtmann starts from P23 ahead of Hugo Sass in P24. And Matthias Lebelt is finishing off the grid in P25.
What do we think, Kevin, in terms of strategy? I have a feeling that, well, Niels Langeveld is going to pit immediately after the first lap to get as much clean air as possible. But I have a feeling a lot of drivers are going to do that at this track. So I don't know if that is exactly going to work. If drivers had of him pit, I don't know what is going to happen. But I have a feeling that, well, Niels Langeveld is going to pit as early as possible, as is Mirko Bortolotti.
Well, that has proven to be a good strategy in those reverse grid races if you know you've got the pace. Of course, everything depends if you survive the first lap with those reverse grid races. We do see sometimes a bit of an accident in especially like those places around P10, I think, a lot of the times. But so it will, because you know the faster drivers from behind and the slower drivers at the front, that can make for some sticky situations. So it will be all about surviving that lap 1. I hope that for everybody, of course, but especially of course for Langeveld. And then yeah, he's got the pace. He knows that himself very well, I think. So going in early might not be the worst tactic, because I don't think so many people around him will do the same thing. Maybe a driver like Mirko, but I don't think that a lot of drivers around his position at the moment will be going for the early stop. So it might work out for Niels.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're rounding off the last couple of corners now. We're rounding off the last corner of the formation lap, Kevin. Once again, we're going to go green in just a second time.
Yes.
There we go. This time it's Hendrik Augustin leading us away from pole position. A great start from Hendrik Augustin. Jan Philips Springop has a chance to do it all over again. On the outside, we're 3 wide, 4 wide in the middle. There's a crash in the background, I think. At least people were touching each other. There we go. And that's something that we did not want to see. Niels Langeveld up to P16 already. Augustin has the lead. And Marcus Deutsch maybe up the inside of Jens Fiedler. Not quite able to do so. Jens Fiedler, the purple and blue car in the background. Here we have him. This is Jens Fiedler under attack from the silver driver. Marcus Deutsch. Sean Terre now up into P4 in the silver class. Great drive by the young German. And he will try to stay there and not pit for the whole race. I think that's his tactic now, Kevin. But it seems we've all got away cleanly.
That's a big one.
I said that too early, I think. I'm sorry. That's my jinx.
We've seen a couple of crashes now in this first lap. Top drivers still going strong. Augustin Springop kept their 1-2 positions there. Niels Langeveld has not made that big of a progress. He's got a couple of positions there, but he's dropped behind Mirko Bortolotti at the moment and is now pushing on the Honda ahead of him, of Mirko Bortolotti. And that is very close between the drivers there. Let's see.
He's saying to Mirko Bortolotti, come on, go on.
Faster.
We need to go through the field quicker. A little bit of contact there between Bachmann and Langeveld. Langeveld does get through eventually. There's further contact on the exit, of course. Now Bachmann says to Langeveld, now, come on, you need the exit now as well. There go people into the pit lane. Langeveld not opting for the pit lane. Fouls, Zasse, Piba, all heading for the pit lane. And Rambo in the background as well. And defending is Niels Langeveld for Mark Bachmann. P10 already for Niels Langeveld. Not with, I think, the clean air he wanted. Now, with attacking, Bachmann has, of course, made himself vulnerable for Pascal Haas in P12. And, well, Pascal Haas couldn't quite make that move stick, but certainly had a little look there up the inside of Mike Bachmann.
Yeah, Niels Langeveld not in the position he probably wanted to be in. I mean, he's gained 8 positions already in one lap, so that is still very good. But if you really want to catch those guys at the front, look at how much the gap is opening up already. 2 seconds those two are ahead of Jens Fiedler already. So they are opening up the space for them. And it just makes it harder and harder and harder for Langeveld to really catch up to those guys. So he's got to push if he wants to get a good shot at victory. He will have to, he will have to go quicker than that at the moment.
In the background, though, there we go. Niels Langeveld is trying to go around the outside of Mikko Bortolotti. Mikko Bortolotti doesn't quite seem to have the pace he had in race 1. If, of course, that Honda might be better on the end of its stint. Niels Langeveld, though, I think, will be going for the pit lane this time round. Because they're really, really slowing him up now. Mikko Bortolotti, I think, will do exactly the same. Mike Buckman, though, what a move from him in this lap. There we go, Niels Langeveld into the pit lane. But as you can see, not the only one to do so.
No, Bortolotti and Langeveld both stayed out. A lot of drivers
that was
went
a late
in.
move then.
Yeah, Bortolotti pulled over very late. But I think he faked it. I think he went for pit lane to get the other drivers to go inside maybe. And when he saw that the drivers were following him, he just backed out of it. So a bit of a mind game there, I feel like, from Mikko Bortolotti.
Well, Mark Buckman has definitely done that. And, well, I don't think they or Mark Buckman expected them to, well, bail out of that move. Niels Langeveld now up to P8. Marius Souk is the one ahead of him. Now he can show his pace. How quickly can he catch up and be on the back of Marius Souk? Because that will prove that he does have the pace to catch up to Henrik Augustin. Henrik Augustin, though, in qualifying, Kevin, the gap was about 200ths of a second. If that is the same here every lap, Henrik Augustin should be safe from Niels Langeveld. But he has the company of Jan-Philipp Springer behind him as well. If they start fighting, Kevin, it is possible that both Mikko Bortolotti and Langeveld catch up to them.
Yeah, they really gotta maybe work together at the moment. Which is not uncommon. You can some of the drivers do have that feeling, I'd say, in their gut, to know when to fight and to know when not to fight and maybe work together for a bit. Let's see if Augustin and Springup can do that this time round. Is anybody? No, just the Audi of Stadtmann is going into pit lane. Everybody else still staying out and gaining those positions one by one. Niels Langeveld now up the inside of Marius Zug and just... does he get it done? Not quite yet. Now he's got it. He's passed Marius Zug up into P6. Niels Langeveld really trying to get closer and closer and closer to the top. Let's swap over to the gap so we can see Langeveld only 8 seconds behind Henrik Augustin at the moment.
Well, we say only 8 here, Kevin, but 8 is definitely quite a lot with the pace that Henrik Augustin has compared to Niels Langeveld. Also, I do want to point out the fact, Sean Ter, 3 seconds the gap to Marcus Deutsch in P2 in the silver class. So it looks like he's been quick in this Audi. He only needs half a second to catch up to Jens Fiedler, and it would be a podium overall once again for Sean Ter. So what a drive. And now Marcus Deutsch has dropped back even more. Niels Langeveld is now back past him. He's going to try and maybe catch up into the slipstream of Bortolotti. Try and, well, get with them. But that plan has been spoiled for him because Marius Zug is up the inside of him now. And with that, not only Marius Zug, but also Patrick Hen was trying to follow Marius Zug. Around the outside goes Patrick Hen now. And I think he's done it. He's done it, yes.
Yes, he's passed.
Very smart there from Patrick Hen to follow Marius Zug through. And that's the Max Verstappen at Monaco example.
We can see purple times now by Jan-Philipp Springer, 147.1. Very good times there. Niels Langeveld 147.69, so not quite on his pace yet. But he is already up to P5. He's got a bit of clean air ahead of him. Chanter 2.6 seconds ahead. So he can put the hammer down, and he really has to if he wants to gain another couple of positions. We'll see if Langeveld can do that. Martin Stadtmann here. Very close behind Maximilian Paul. A lot of fights going on the track. You can see it on the intervals in the tower. A lot of yellow, a lot of orange. Which means a lot of close fighting just behind them as well. Pascal Haas against Marek Böckmann. Pascal Haas did also a great job in the first race. So we know he's got the pace to really fight with the top guys here. So he will be looking to get a couple of positions there as well. Has he been in pit lane already? Yes, he has been in pit lane already. So he is P4 of the guys that have pitted already. Which is always interesting to see.
I don't know here, Kev, but Marius Souk seems to have a cheat code. His pit lane time is 0.32. I don't know at what speed Marius Souk went through the pit lane, but that is fighter jet speeds. And even they wouldn't be that quick through the pit lane. But yeah, that's incredible. But no, I think that's a mistake in our timing system. Hendrik Augustin is still leading the way, but Jan-Philipp Springop here, Kevin, still half a second behind Augustin. So Augustin not getting any rest here, and this is not, Hendrik Augustin can't put down, I think, his best lap times because he's constantly under pressure from Jan-Philipp Springop.
Yeah, Springop really not making this easy for Augustin. Really keeping Augustin on his toes. But at the moment he's right there. He's always in his rearview mirror, but it doesn't seem like Springop is really getting close enough at the moment for a real overtaking maneuver. We'll see if that changes, but at the moment both of them driving a great pace. Last lap was only 100th of a second a gap between them, so they are just driving the same pace at the moment, which also explains why the gap isn't really coming down for Jan-Philipp Springop. So still a great fight here at the top, but also a great fight further down the field. Look at the train of those cars. That will be P11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, I think. All in a fight for position.
Well, I'm excited to see where all the drivers come out once they have made their pit stop. One driver who we have lost is Hugo Ekersen, I think, from Server 1. It has just dawned on me that he's not in this session.
You're very much correct.
At least I can't see him.
No, he's not. He's not.
It is rather my eyes deceiving me, or I'm correct.
You're definitely correct.
Well, Hendrik Augustin still leading the way. People are pitting, and it is Niels Langeveld, Marius de Hugo Zasse, and Florian Stadtmann into the pit lane. Niels Langeveld comes out in 7th, has been overtaken by Maximilian Paul. That's a fight on pit exit. Has got past Maximilian Paul again. Hendrik Augustin, when does he get past? Look at this. This is the train that Mirko Bortolotti is ahead of now. Can you imagine Mirko Bortolotti coming out now? Because he would be right behind Niels Langeveld. He would join in the middle of that train. Niels Langeveld, what a drive he has done. And could you imagine here, Kevin, Niels Langeveld having a 2-second delay on his pit stop? He would be behind all those people. So his pit stop was absolutely critical for him. And that's what I like. 28.3 seconds in pit lane. One of the quickest pit lane times of anyone. And that has definitely helped him to where he is now, Kevin. He can now chase down that 21-second gap he has to Patrick Hen. He basically has clean air now to chase down everyone ahead of him.
Yeah, he's, as you said, he is the quasi-leader of the guys that have pitted. Of the pit stoppers. But that might change now. Hendrik Augustin, Jan-Philipp Springop both coming into pit lane now. Let's see where they will end up. Jens Fiedler, Chanter, Mirko Bortolotti, and probably Patrick Hen as well. Yes, there he is. All coming into pit lane. Where will Niels Langeveld now end up? Let's see. Let's stay on him and see where he rejoins. He probably not gonna get all the Augustino Springup. Yeah, Augustin already pit exit, Springup already picked it. Bortolotti and Hen also already on pit exit. Fiedler and Ter still standing. Fiedler still standing. He's got a long pit stop there. I hope he didn't have a penalty or anything, but there he is. Niels Langeveld. He's going around the outside. Really breaking late past Chanter and Mirko Bortolotti. Up into P3. Niels Langeveld.
Wow.
What a maneuver.
Wow, Kevin. That is what you call a perfect pit strategy for Niels Langeveld. 7.4 seconds though is the gap to Jan-Philipp Springup here, Kev. I don't think that Niels Langeveld is going to be able to catch up to Jan-Philipp Springup. Around the outside though, the Schevelag is now going to be the point where Chanter is going to have to defend from Mirko Bortolotti. This is great for Niels Langeveld because Mirko Bortolotti, his closest rival on the track at the moment for that P3. And he's stuck now behind Chanter. Chanter doing everything right here. Look at the gap he has to Patrick Hen, P2 in the silver class. What a drive from Chanter. He's done everything correctly here in race 2. And, well, I said to him, you will get better luck in server 2. And for the moment, I'm knocking on wood. I hope you can hear me knock on wood. Everything is going correctly for Chanter.
He's doing a great job at the moment, P4. Overall, of course, P1 in the silver class. But now, Mirko Bortolotti really closing the gap. Mirko, of course, wanting to get past. Because every second that he is behind Sean, he is probably losing a bit of time to Niels Langeveld ahead. Niels Langeveld with that incredible maneuver into turn 1. After the pit stops, looked absolutely amazing. It was all risk and all reward for him there. And now Chanter covering up the inside against Mirko Bortolotti. Bortolotti on the outside, who might
not a smart
now...
move, I think.
No, that wasn't
Not the
great
smartest
because
move.
he's now got Maximilian Paul right on his bumper. But manages to stay ahead there. But it
looks
is
like
very close.
through. It looks like for me, Kevin here, that, well, through the section of... Let me quickly pull up here. Through the section of Hugenholz, it's Mirko seems quicker, but the rest of the track, they seem pretty equal.
Yeah, you can see the gap opening up again, closing up, so he's not really gaining. Maybe now, ooh, that looked like he might be going for something. He's now got the inside for the next corner, and I think he's got him now. If Chanter can keep it, he can keep it.
Next one
Gets
is to the
the
left-hand side.
Gets the inside for the next corner there. Too wide all the way through those corners. And you can see Langeveld just opening up the gap already 2 seconds to Chanter. So Langeveld is very happy about how this one is unfolding behind him. But look at that train. The Terre train. Right now forming.
Well, what a drive from the young German. And
He's doing great. He's doing great.
well, it's not the first time we've seen him do this. I think at Donington Park in the GT4s in the Porsche was the last time he was on the podium. He's very close this time round. I don't think he's going to get the podium over Mirko or over Niels Langeveld. Mirko Bortolotti is now all over him. He's defending the inside. He's hugging that inside wall like his favorite granny. And he's going to keep the inside line. There's contact in the background and a big crash from Martin Statman. And I think, who was involved in that? Thomas Piba as well. Maximilian Paul involved in that as well. Paul has gone back into the pit lane. He's just headed.
No.
But
Yeah,
Chanter still ahead of Mirko Bortolotti. He has soaked up that pressure from a 24-hour of Daytona winner, a man who was in the championship fight in the DTM this season. And at only 13 years of age here, Kev, that's something that I definitely wouldn't have been able to do at that age.
No, definitely not. Great driving there, great defensive driving there from Chanter. But Mirko just can't find a way past. He's going again.
There we go.
Around the inside there. He looks to have gotten a better run, but Chanter still on the inside. We have seen that one before. So everything for Sean in the next corner, the left-hander there. And he keeps the position again through that section of corners. Unbelievable stuff there by Sean. Keeping now the inside line again for the next corner.
Oh,
That was a bit of a mistake there. And there, now he's off. The pressure maybe just getting a bit too strong there for Sean, and he loses a position.
Across the line. There we go. Here he is. Henrik Augustin wins. Finally gets that victory after some unlucky things happening in race 1. The unfinished bring up also gets back well in P2, but this man, Niels Langeveld, what a drive for P18 to P3 on at the finish line. Mikkel Bortolotti in the end getting past Sean Terry. He was soaking out that pressure so well, but in the end, the pressure was just a little bit too much for Sean Terry to soak up. And in the end, he made that little mistake that Mikkel Bortolotti was hoping for, and that gave Mikkel Bortolotti P4. But still, what a drive from Sean Terry. Still, even though, excuse me, that he's got P5 overall, that victory, he's got that in the silver class.
Yeah. Great drive there by him. Josh Files with 1:46.9, just casually getting the fastest lap in the final lap of the race, taking that away, I think, from Niels Langeveld, who had it before him with a 46.92. And those are not the final drivers on track. That is this man, Stefano Pellegrino. So we're waiting on him to finish the race, and then we can look at the final results of the final race of week 10 in the W12 Sprint Series. So there's Stefano Pellegrino going around the final corner and across the finishing line there, flashing it for us across the finishing line. And now we should have the results. I'm gonna quickly change those to feature because it doesn't do that automatically for whatever reason. And
here we go. This one is for you,
there
Kev.
they are. There they are. Henrik Augustin, yeah, lights the flag, victory. It came how I thought it would. Henrik Augustin, Jan-Philipp Springup, they were fast and starting from the front row in this reverse grid race. They didn't make any mistakes, and so I think it was pretty much a done deal that those two guys would stay at the front as well, and they did convincingly. Niels Langeveld, though, you gotta say, coming from P18, has done an amazing job to come up to P3, to finish in P3, because that was not an easy task that he had ahead of him. And yeah, great job by Niels Langeveld finishing on the podium. There, Mirko Bortolotti, we've talked about it at the beginning of the stream. He might not be winning every race, especially not in the second server. He won every race in the first server, of course. But he's always up there in the good positions, and that's why he's up there in the championship standings. Mirko Bortolotti, P4 for him. Chanter, winner of the silver class, almost kept Mirko Bortolotti behind him right up until the end. Small mistake there, costing him P4 in the overall positions, but still a great result there by Sean. Not only P5 in the overall standings, but of course winning the silver class in this race. Marius Zug, P6 for him, ahead of Pascal Haas, P7. Patrick Henn, P8. Marek Böckmann, P9. Hugo Sasse in P10. I'm gonna show you guys the rest of the results because I don't want to keep the man that is waiting in the interview room for too long. Want to get him up here, so there are the results of the race, because the driver that is waiting in the interview waiting room, waiting, said that a couple of times now, is Jan-Philipp Springup. Let's pull him up right here. Jan-Philipp Springup, second place in the reverse grid race, is now with us in the commentary booth. Jan, how was the race for you? Great job there, getting P2.
Hey everybody. Race 2 was quite okay, I would say. So luckily I could start the race from P2, so makes the things easier. But all in all, the race was really good. Had a fun evening, so yeah, I'm happy.
It looked very close between you and Hendrik in that second race, but never quite close enough. You were pretty much on the same pace, it seemed like. How was that fight in your eyes, from your eyes?
Especially before the pit stop, we had nearly the same speed. So yeah, but it wasn't enough to start an overtake. So I tried to do it in the second half after the pit stop, but yeah, then he was a lot faster. So I just tried to keep my second place and yeah, just bring it home.
You did very well there. P2 in the feature race. Maybe just a quick look back in the first server, Toyota GR86 at the Nordschleife, or not Nordschleife, Nürburgring Kurzanbindung.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Toyota, of course, new car in the series.
The car is really fun to drive. So you can have a really close racing, and yeah, it makes a lot of fun. P5 wasn't that bad, so yeah, Toyota is always fun to drive.
That's of course great to hear. Yeah, Dan, if you've got anything to add, do it now or be silent forever. No, of course, I'm joking.
Wow. How rude. How rude. Well, we of course saw what happened in race 1 in server 2. Jan. After that, how does it feel to bounce back this well after a result like that? Does it feel extra good?
Yes, of course. So I'm really happy that we have the reverse grid rule. So otherwise, it would be really hard to fight back from P17. But yeah, the incident was bad luck, I would say. But yeah, luckily we have this rule.
Yeah. But I think that was everything from me, Kevin.
Yes.
Jan, thank you for making the time for us. And, well, 2 weeks to go now in the W12 series. And, well, good luck out there next week.
Yeah, thank you.
So that was Jan-Philipp Springer, P2 in the reverse grid race. I can see Niels making doing a live stream for the other guys in the interview waiting room. Let's just pull him up there, I think. Anyways, let's just crash their little viewing party. And there he is, winner of the first race in the second server and an incredible P3 in the reverse grid race. Niels, what
Hello,
a second
everybody.
server. What a second server for you. Unbelievable pace you've shown us. Just tell us, how was it from your perspective?
Yeah, it was a great race. We had big fun today, especially the tactics in the pit stops were great in the second server. I don't know if it was on the live stream, but I just came in front of Mirko, and when I came out, Maximilian Paul was beside me. We touched. It was so unbelievable close, which made it big fun today. Important is to stay out of trouble, and the pace was really, really good today with the TCR especially. P3 in the first server, P1 and P3 in the second server. We scored some good points today, so really happy.
Yeah, don't worry. We saw the pit exit or your overtake on the pit exit when everybody else came out on the stream.
Yeah.
I thought it was very exciting. A great move there to get past Mirko and Sean in the very last second, in the very last possible second. So it was great fun to watch. Great to hear that it was also fun for you guys to drive out there. But you gotta tell me, where do you get that pace? That was unbelievable pace that you've shown us tonight.
Yeah, I think I did in the past. I had some races with TCR cars, and also especially one time at Zandvoort. And of course, it's also like that Zandvoort is my home track. So I live 30 minutes from there, so I know the track really well. I raced there with TCR cars in real life. So it's quite close to that. So yeah, then when you're in some kind of a flow, you feel like that it's that you're on point, and then you're in a rhythm, in a flow, and then fantastic.
Yeah, you were really in the rhythm tonight, especially in the second server. You did well in the first server as well, but especially the second server, I think you really have shown how fast you can really be. Dan, anything to add from your?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Niels, my friend. I remember talking to you a long time ago somewhere at the Platinum Racing League when they hosted a TCR series. That's, of course, a long time ago now. But at that point in time, you said that you had to get used to the iRacing TCRs. I want to ask you, what has changed in the way maybe of your driving style, or what has clicked that you now have the pace you have?
Well, it's always on the braking. I mean, in this iRacing, we have ABS system on, and that's clearly the difference. And it's difficult to feel ABS when you're in the simulator. That's the thing that where the simulator stuff can be improved. That's still something which is, I noticed that now Simicube get these pedals where you can feel the ABS system, which is really cool. But
it's cool but expensive.
Really expensive, yeah. So, but you don't really feel it now. So that's where I needed to get used to handle the ABS in the game, and now you know how to manage this, and then then you get the right feeling.
Well, Niels, that's been all from me. Of course, congratulations on your victory in race 1. You were mighty quick in the TCRs today at Zandvoort, of course, your home track. And, well, you've driven amazingly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Sleep well. Ciao.
Bye. So he's 30 minutes away from Zandvoort, you're 30 minutes away from Zolder. Could we expect a performance like that from you on Zolder then?
No, and I'm saying this not because of how bad I am, just or not because of the fact that I'm slower. I am quicker at any other track, or I am quicker than I am at any other track if I race on Zolder. So that's my quickest track. But I'm just not as quick as Niels, Mirko, or any of these guys. So no, that not. You could definitely expect a better performance than I normally would do on a track like Zolder. Yes.
Well, that's of course great. Let's maybe get the fastest man from especially the first server in here. The winner of every race and qualifying in the first server, Mirko Bortolotti. Let's just pull him in. And there he is, the outstanding man from especially server 1, but also did very well in server 2. Mirko, welcome to the commentary booth.
Good evening, boys, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
you
Year
as well. With you, I would start off with the first server, of course, a premiere, the Toyota GR86 at the Nürburgring Kurzanbindung. You won every race there, won qualifying, your heat, and the feature race. How was it for you? How was it from your perspective?
It was fun. It's a new car on iRacing. I personally don't like it that much. But it's so different to all other cars that we drive that, that's probably the special part with it. And it's so different to drive as well. So everything you do well in different cars, you try to replicate it in that Toyota car, you will go really, really slow. So that's actually really, really funny and cool. Yeah, and the racing is probably also quite nice. Like in the TCRs, you can have some contact here and there, and there's no big consequence with it. So I think that's positive. And generally, what I want to point out is tonight, I think the racing was really nice and great to watch probably as well. From what I could see, everybody behaved really well. Of course, we had some contact here and there, but generally the standards are going in the right direction.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. The racing was great to watch in server 1 and server 2. Both of them really close, really good fighting. As you said, a couple of contacts here and there, but I think that's just part of the whole game. One more thing I wanted to ask about the Toyotas, because me and Dan, we were talking about it. The right-hander after the, what is it, Mercedes Arena on the Nürburgring. Daniel Sommer, I think, almost flipped the car there. Was it really that bouncy going that hairpin, I'd say, going down there?
Yeah, it took me, I think, out of the 30 minutes practice, it took me 16 minutes to put a lap together. So I was actually spinning, almost flipping in turn 1 out of the pit lane. And also the Kurzanbindung, the corner you're mentioning, was the same. So if you had a tight line, or if you were trying to, bring the speed to the apex using the apex as much as you could, there was a huge risk that you almost flipped over. So you needed to really reinvent your line in that half an hour to understand how you have to drive the car, and that was quite weird. But also cool, because otherwise it's always the same thing. So it was really down to trying to understand as quickly as possible what you needed to do. And with the elevation changes like turn 1 and also that corner you said, but especially the last chicane as well, where there were a few ways of doing it. But if you could not do it from lap 1 with cold tires. So everybody at the beginning thought, okay, we cannot take the curb, but then suddenly we realized we have to take the curb if you want to be quick. So you needed to find out how to ride that curb in a way that you could finish your lap without spinning or flipping. So it was actually quite funny.
It looked very exciting when the cars were just bouncing around the track there with the Toyota. The TCRs.
I would really invite you guys to try it, because it's it's not as easy as you think. Especially on that track, I expected it to be a lot easier, like Nürburgring. But yeah,
I don't think I'm quick enough to flip the car.
Yeah, but you will spin it if you really like try to drive it like a GT3 or a different car. It's so weird to drive. But anyways.
Yeah, maybe one last question from my side. For the second race, the TCRs, also again, great racing there. Again, 2 great finishes from you. How was it? How was the TCR race in your perspective?
Really, really cool. I mean, we had great racing, as we said before, a lot of wheel-to-wheel action, a lot of strategy going on during the race. We've seen people undercutting, people going long, and that really, made a difference in one way or the other. And there was some contact, as I said at the beginning, but the car is quite robust. So, yeah, you don't have big damage out of it. And the racing was really fun. I mean, obviously, also the TCR, I have to be honest, it's not my favorite car. Probably if you ask most of the guys, they say the same. But the racing it produces is brilliant. And yeah, this is one of the reasons why the car is part of the W12 series. And yeah, I think it never disappoints.
No, it really doesn't. I think it's great. Even if it's not one of the favorite cars of the drivers, they still produce some magic on the track with the TCR. Mirko, thank you very much for your time. Maybe not long to go. Two more weeks left. You're confident that you can stay at the top of the table?
I try my best, even though it's only a fun series. But as we always say, it's for sure a fun series. There's nothing to win, nothing to lose in the end of the day. But for us, it's also a good opportunity to stay connected, to stay in the racing mood, to go through practice, a quali, and the race, and approach it in a proper way. It really can, it's a useful tool to stay fresh for the season, for the real season as well. In our case, or for other races in case of the sim races. So it's definitely great to approach it that way. I think that Jonas and Ben, they took a week off to have a 0 as a drop score. Probably they took their drop week, and I expect to see them back next week.
Well, I hope to see them back so we can have some more great racing. Thank you for your time, Mirko. We'll see each other next week once again in the W12 Sprint Series. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, guys. See you soon. Ciao.
And with that, we'll wrap it up. Everybody in the chat, everybody that has been watching now, thank you very much for doing so. I hope you enjoyed the racing tonight as much as we did, especially as I did. I was having a lot of fun. Sorry again for my voice. I had, how do you say it, the flu just last week.
They wish you all the best, Kevin. They wish you all the best. Just as I do.
I am well. It's just my voice is just still a bit.
It's the time of the year.
It's the time of the year. Everybody's sick. But I hope we still entertained you well enough. If the racing did as well. So probably wouldn't have needed us to. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Dan, maybe some final words, some final thoughts. I'm not gonna put you under the. No, I'm not gonna put you under the 3-word thing. You can have as many words as you like, but maybe just your final thoughts. Maybe your resume on the night that we've had on the racing.
Well, a brilliant debut. That's what I'm gonna say, because the Toyota, of course, well, it was its debut in the series. It immediately got drawn, so that's the luck you have to get as well.
Yeah.
And the racing proved to be amazing in that car. So I would say the 3 words for this evening, because I am going to keep it to 3 words. Keep it going. It's a great debut.
All right, that's a good 3 words to keep it by. It's late. It's 15 past 11 almost, so we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sticking with the W12 Sprint Series. Only 2 more weeks left after this, so make sure to stay tuned to everything. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll be here back next week, same time, same place, for the second to last week of the W12 Sprint Series. Still got a lot of interesting fights in the championship standings there. It's getting late. I'm noticing that as well. So make sure to not miss the final 2 races of the W12 Sprint Series. Until then, have a good week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And we'll see you